Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody, and welcome live on this Saturday morning, December. Yes, our $1 million set just had an accident. Our 922nd, that was perfect, 922nd episode of The Dave's Gone By, Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, will be joining us briefly at the beginning of the show to get us started. And then we have, so much fun.
Quick hi, honey.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm saying a quick hi, honey.
Hi, honey. That's my wife, honey.
Let me do some of this. I'll help you.
Okay. Well, or do you want me to do that? Yeah.
Okay. Here.
So.
I'm going to speak to you in expressions. Okay, ready?
I'm ready as I'll ever be because we got more crap this week.
Don't call it crap.
Good crap.
Thank you. Two of the best words we can ever learn. Do you have some favorite neighbors where you live? I mean, real neighbors with whom you can talk and play and ask for help if you need it. I hope so. Doesn't it feel good when you're just about to do something that you know is wrong and you decide to do something else? Something that won't hurt you or anybody else? Doesn't that feel great? Taking care is one way to show your love. Another way is letting people take good care of you when you need it. I like to think of all kinds of helpers in our world. There's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are.
If you haven't guessed by now. You know, I've grown more deaf in this year, and yet I can still hear that. Okay, so first of all, we purchased two items this week.
Not we.
My wife,
Yes.
my darling, adorable wife, purchased.
And you got to take the sticker off the mug.
that's part of it.
Okay.
That's part of it. So this from Brookstone, as you can see, from Brookstone is a megaphone. Is a working.
We got it at Marshall's, though we didn't get it at Brookstone. That's more cost.
Yeah, Brookstone is the manufacturer of
it
this.
It was actually free because we had our $10 certificate.
Hey, where's the body?
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
It would have been free, however, you had to have 4C batteries to work it.
The batteries actually cost more than this thing.
It's worth it because listen to this, ladies and gentlemen.
Could you do some announcing, of a sport?
And they're coming around the final turn.
No, like curling.
Oh.
And they're stepping up to the curling line.
Stone.
Is that?
The stone.
Can you hear me though?
Yes,
Does it sound okay? They're getting to the stone, and people can get ready to shout "sweep." And they're hurling the stone, and it's going down the track. Just as I will say, it's done about 4 million times over the past day and a half. And it knocks the other stone out of the way, and people are gently applauding and falling asleep.
Yeah. So there you go.
So, sweetie, I'm gonna go.
Oh, already? Yeah. Well, it's already 9:05. We've eaten up 5 minutes of show already with just this. This is how we roll.
I think that's a good toy for you.
Do you really think this is a good toy for me?
Not that. You could have it in the car, and then if someone bothers you, you just,
I know, just leave it near the window.
Yeah.
And anytime some a-hole, because we've seen a lot of a-holes on the road recently.
Yeah.
And it's just like somebody, and you want to freak everybody out because you don't know where the noise is coming from.
Yeah.
And you start looking like... And like everybody stops and you drive around them.
You could.
Why?
I think it might be illegal though.
There is a booklet that comes with this. It's somewhere that says it's like a Class A or Class D or something like that. You can't use it for that purpose. I don't know. It should be. I don't know where it went.
I think it's on the kitchen table.
No, don't worry.
I'll get it.
Go.
I'm gonna go. I'll get it. Then I'll go. I'm gonna bring my stuff and I'll get the kitchen table. I know it's, and I put your. Be careful. I
while you're down there, can you make me a dry martini? You couldn't hear me?
Yeah, you couldn't hear me?
See, this is going to be real helpful when I'm a few years older and I have trouble going up and down stairs. And I was just being like,
I could really use a hot cocoa.
that actually hurts. Actually hurts my ear when I'm doing it. I'm behind the speaker. Although I am the speaker. This is really a cool, ridiculous thing. I mean, if there are any protests against Israel, I'm coming there with this and being like,
could you kindly go fuck yourself? Thank you so much.
but anywho, pretty neat. Ta-da. Well, yeah. Please don't freak everybody out by saying, "Hey, Dave, here's your hospital ID." I did not go to the hospital this week. We visited a hospital complex for
Give
a
me
basic
a kiss. Give me a kiss.
checkup. Hold on, I've got to kiss my wife.
You could do it with the megaphone.
Do I have time to finger you, or are we just gonna kiss? Ow! 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 Ow!
Love you, honey. Have a great
Let
show.
me do. Yeah, I'll see you
Say,
back
just
here later.
kiss on them thing.
Oh, mwah, mwah.
David, I think I should take that from you. I don't know why we thought that was a good idea.
She's going for a therapeutic massage, ladies and gentlemen. So if they touch you in the wrong spot, just do this. Like, if they move a little too much up your thigh, just Anywho, here's the instructions for the special new megaphone we have for the program. And don't you think we will be using this? I think Howard Stern did this probably like 30, 40 years ago. This kind of thing where it's a toy and you play with the toy until you get bored with the toy. So I'm going to play with this. And, where's my glasses? Because this is really tiny, teeny print, and I purposely brought glasses, to read stuff with. Because I am of that age. Here we go. La la la. All right. I'm telling you, I look so much better with glasses now. La 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 la. This equipment has been tested and found to comply with the limits for Class B digital device pursuant to Part 15 of FCC rules. It provides reasonable protection against harmful interference in a residential installation. This equipment generates, uses, and can radiate radio frequency energy. If not installed and used in accordance with instructions, this may cause harmful interference to radio or television interception, which can be determined by turning the equipment off and on. If we visit New York, I should go outside like WBAI and just start turning this on. It's like,
Hello, am I disturbing your frequency right now?
that'd be pretty neat. Consult the dealer or an experienced radio TV technician for help. So suddenly, like, you get a call from the FCC or the police that you're blocking the frequencies on rabbit ears television, or maybe airplanes. Like, there's some low-flying plane, and suddenly you're disturbing them with this, and they have to like hire a consultant at $200 an hour to make sure that you're using your $10 Brookstone megaphone just so. But it does comply with Part 15 of FCC rules. It may not cause harmful interference, and it must not accept any interference received, including interference that may cause undesired operation. Wow. And this is made by a company called Samsonico. So I always said Brookstone must be the distributor, but Samsonico USA. It's not Samsung. It's not Samsungico. Samsonico. Wow. To obtain warranty service, it would be more costly to mail this for repair than it was to buy this. You know how much things cost to mail anywhere now? Whether you're using UPS or the regular post office, you have to spend literally $30 to mail this like fourth class bulk whatever rate just to get this to the company to try and get it back. You need a receipt to get service on it. Oh, by the way, this product must be used. I'm not kidding. This is on here. This product must be used by an adult and kept out of the reach of children. I guess they realized that there's a siren on it, and therefore, you put that on in the middle of traffic, no matter who you are, it's going to be a problematic thing. Why they put a siren on this, I don't understand. This would be a good thing to keep in the car. I'm not kidding. If you are stuck, you got your flashers on, and you want to notify people that you're in trouble or that there's an issue going on, or some woman is stopped in traffic and isn't sure if the cop is a real cop, it's kind of like whoop, 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 and keep this going. I don't know. I mean, but I just why would you need a siren if you're just getting a megaphone
To do this. Greetings.
Isn't it loud? It's really loud and annoying, which I guess is the point of megaphones, right? Oh, I haven't even done the all important. Hold on.
Hear ye, hear ye. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
Now I've done it. Now I can safely, comfortably retire and die because I've done that into a megaphone. Oh, what fun we have! Wow, I've got. This is interesting. When I wear the glasses, I've got the reflection of the window right in them, which is kind of enough. Well, I don't need these for now, so I'll just pop these on top of my head for the moment. I'll keep this megaphone handy because you never know. You never know when we might need it. We also, what you were hearing through the megaphone was our latest addition to the family. Someone that Joyce never really got into or never trusted much, but someone, I don't know, if you're like me, you watched Mr. Rogers every afternoon.
You've made this day a special day by just your being you.
Yes, who doesn't love? All right, hold on. Joyce wants to hear it, so I'm going to put the speaker here on. I'm going to put Mr. Rogers up against it, as it were.
Thank you. Two of the best words we can ever learn.
Oh, that thing.
Hold up.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, let me try this one.
Do you have some favorite neighbors where you live? I mean, real neighbors with whom you can talk and play and ask for help if you need it? I hope so.
Mr. Rogers, I've fallen and I can't get up.
Doesn't it feel good when you're just about to do something that you know is wrong and you decide to do something else? Something that won't hurt you or anybody else? Doesn't that feel great?
The great one and only Fred Rogers, who, I mean, I don't know, I have to say, it can't be in public domain because Rogers was like from the early 60s through, I guess, the aughts doing his program. And I have to think that he and his estate are as controlling as anybody else would be over their likeness, over their material, over their sound. Kind of, the way Gail Zappa was over her husband Frank's musical work. I was just like, nobody touches it. Yoko is pretty proprietary over John Lennon stuff with and without the Beatles. So you have to think, unlike Bob Ross, we watched the documentary about the wonderful painter Bob Ross. Happy little documentary. It was actually an unhappy little documentary because his life was fairly foreshortened by illness, and afterwards there was all this hugger-mugger about who owned the rights to his shows, the rights to his likeness, the right to his painting style. And so you can see the Bob Ross stuff everywhere. It is not benefiting anybody connected with Bob Ross or his family. I don't think he had children or anything like that. So it's just an image that's out there. So when you see him on calendars, when you see there's literally a Bob Ross chia head that grows, they do it for Obama too. I guess it's because he's a celebrity figure and you're allowed in that respect. But, and you see his likeness on page-a-day calendars and on what other kinds of things. And Bob Ross bobblehead dolls. I'm just surprised. I am really, really surprised. Even though it's an adorable thing to see that they were able to do this with Fred Rogers, with his physique, his sweater, of course, and literally what would be, I assume, copyrighted little moments from his TV show.
Taking care is one way to show your love.
Oh.
I like to think of all kinds of help
I mean, they're lovely sentiments. There's nothing offensive remotely about this. It's really quite a wonderful little gift or toy. I wish they'd taken a little more care with the audio quality of the clips that they've got, and the fact that some of them have music behind them, and it was almost random.
There's no person in the whole world like you, and
But
I like you just the way you are.
that's classic. Okay, that's fine.
You've made this day a special day by just your being you.
Classic, classic. It would have been nice to have a song on there too. You know, maybe the Bob Troll song or something.
Thank you. Two of the best words we can ever learn.
So, as great as it is, I do kind of wonder who licensed this. Who, at what point are they allowing, you know, Fred Rogers tchotchkes to enter the market? I'm not against it. I'm just kind of curious and shocked and surprised in a weird way. And now, of course, it has joined the Daverhood. That's something we can play when I make a really terrible joke.
Do you have some favorite neighbors where you live? I mean, real neighbors with whom you can talk and play and ask for help if you need it?
Actually, thank goodness we do. We live in a nice neighborhood that we're, and won't you be my neighbor, or as we say, my Daver, here in the Daverhood. On this program, it's called Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz. We're doing our 922nd episode of the program, which means that we have been on the air, really, I was going to say on and off, but it's been mostly on since October of 2002. That is how we've racked up 922 episodes so far of humor. All right, so all righty then. Well, we'll keep you posted, folks. I may have to, may possibly have to take a break from the program. Well, I'm assuming that will not happen. I'm hoping that will not happen. Anyway, what's going to be on this episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the Stream? Well, we do have a special guest. We have someone that I was able to talk to at that publicity summit, Zoom publicity summit I went to a couple of weeks ago, and met up with this really funny, really fun, really interesting, very successful, and polymath. It's not that he's a polymath. As we were talking the other day, he's more of like someone who has corralled his joyful stupidity into a bunch of different careers, all of which that he's loved. And he's made a bunch of money, and he's had a bunch of fun, and he's still at it. Now, among the things that Al Parinello has done in his career is for about a decade, he owned and operated a rock radio station in New Jersey that went from basically a forgotten little nothing on the dial, crowded out by all these other stations, to one of the top 50 radio stations in the country, honest to gosh. He did that for about a decade. He also produced a couple of shows off Broadway, including becoming a co-producer of the long-running show The Fantastics. What else did he do? He co-produced a show on Broadway a decade or so ago called The People in the Picture, which is about Jewish people. So Rabbi Saul is going to have a lot of fun talking to Al Parinello about that. He also, what has he done? He was involved a lot in the early stages of some of the big cable pay channels, HBO, Max, their programming, their corporate-y stuff, I guess, and that gave him a bit of a nest egg as well. What else did he do? And he is currently, I guess, the owner of Surf Light Theater out in New Jersey, by the Jersey Shore. That had fallen into kind of financial and every other kind of disrepair, and he's trying to bring it back. Surf Light Theater. So he's a theater owner, a radio station owner. He's been a theatrical producer. Well, he's been on the radio. He's been a stand-up comedian. Al Parinello. And as friends back in school era, he was kind of the person to help give a comedian named Andy Kaufman his real first start, and they remained pals and co-workers for a good chunk of Andy Kaufman's life. So while I'm not the biggest fan of Andy Kaufman, he's sort of someone that, as a comical person myself, I admire more than enjoy, and appreciate more than enjoy. Still, who doesn't want to hear Andy Kaufman stories and know all about their relationship. So there's a lot to unpack with Al Parinello, who will be joining us not too far from now here in the Daverhood. Also, we'll have Bunion Watch, because I will share my bunion with both of two bunions on 2 feet, one's bigger than the other. But every week we just kind of take a look and we watch and we see, hey, have Dave's bunions grown? Have they changed? Have they changed color? Have they learned to speak English yet? Because we've been waiting and waiting. It's been a while, and we've gotten them tutors, but it hasn't really helped. So we have Bunion Watch coming up on the show. We also have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, and this is where we go to a town in the beautiful state of Colorado, where Joyce and I lived for several years. And because I enjoyed living in Colorado and also had fun looking at the map and lists of all the names of places like Ouray and Erie and Ray and Iliff and Fort Collins and Greeley and Evans, all these places, and trying to come up with poems about each and every one of them. Short, risque, sometimes quite openly disgusting poems about all these places in Colorado. So this week, we are going to Laporte. I'm surprised I never got to that one. Laporte, Colorado. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the lovely town of Laporte, and then read a not-so-lovely poem that I wrote just a few hours ago about Laporte, Colorado, which will be our Limerick of the Damned. And speaking of Colorado, Joyce and I did live in Greeley, Colorado for a bunch of years, so we have Greeley Times, which are amusing, weird things that people call the Greeley Police Department about. And they say, oh my God, can you send a cop car? Can you check this? Can you investigate it? And usually the phone calls are weirder or incredibly unnecessary than you would imagine. Wow, my grammar just went totally out the window on that. But you know what I'm saying. These calls are logged. They're public domain. They're public record, I should say. And so the newspaper gets a hold of them, strips out all the identifiers, and then is able to publish the funniest ones every week in a column that they call Cop Log or Greeley Cop Log. We take the funniest ones of those and share them with you on a weekly segment called Greeley Times. So all of that, all this fun, all this, as both I and Al Parinello would say, all this joyful stupidity is ahead of you on this 922nd episode of the Dave's Gone By show. Remember, though, that if you're curious, if you just tuned in, right, if you saw Al Parinello's, us promoting him on Facebook, if you saw his face, and, oh, what is this? You've never seen the show, you've never heard of it. Or maybe I'm a friend of yours on Facebook, and finally you're like, oh, this popped up in my feed. Let me check it out. What is this? And you still don't know what the hell. I don't know what the hell this is. I've been doing it for 21 and a half years. It's this zany mix of all this stuff. And if you want to get a better sense of it, the real best way is to go into our archives, because we've tried to save every single show we've ever done, and we've been about 97% successful, which is completely fantastic. That means if you go to our official website, davesgoneby.com, you can hear or watch, because 5 to 6 years ago we went to video, but when we were on radio, when we were on college radio, internet radio, and now on Facebook video, doesn't matter. We've tried to save this magnificent giant archive of stuff. And all you got to do is go to davesgoneby.com. It's completely free. You can search, you can scroll, you can scan. We have a separate archive of just the interviews we've done. And I have been having fits with the website the past few weeks, just with our host, or our blue host, which mostly made me blue, and just chatting with helpers one after, because I thought it'd be better. I thought over the weeks that it would be better to do like the live technical help chat with folks than what I used to do, which is, call their number, because, you pay a bit of money to have servers and a hosting service for your website or website. I have quite a few domains. So they're administering them. They have no problem billing me. No trouble at all, making sure that they sort of automatic deduct the money for all these domains and for renewing the website and for keeping the hosting going. Somehow they figured all that out. But anytime there's any kind of technical glitch, it takes some doing. So about over a month ago, we had a fairly major technical glitch with the website, with davesgoneby.com. And the website's attached to that. So, because some of them point, we also own davesgoneby.org. It'll just bring you to .com or vice versa. And suddenly, I was trying to upload some stuff because they're fairly big files. We do a 2.5 to 3 hour video program, behold, every week. And that's a lot of data. It's usually the main file is about 2 or 3 gig. And long time ago, a couple of years now, they were like, no, you can't upload it. It's too big. I crunch it. So first I've got to crunch the file down so that you lose audio and video quality, whoopee. And if you want the files in better quality, just go to archive.org. We have a channel there, and actually it's higher quality stuff. But anyway. But at one point something happened, or there was an update with the WordPress, or something got glitched, and every page went blank. The back end was okay, but you couldn't save anything. And so I'm like, crap, trouble with my website again. So, and I am not in any way a savant when it comes to programming or coding or creating websites or dealing with WordPress. Been trying to deal with a lot of stuff myself over the past few years, and mostly it's been okay because the template's been there and I'm just adding content. Should be no biggie. But every once in a while, you get hacked, this happens, that happens. So I figure, crap, everything's down. Let's get Bluehost to do what it's supposed to do and fix it. So, you type in, and first, depending on what time of day or what day of the week you're trying to contact them, sometimes within 3 to 4 minutes, you actually get a human being on the other side of the chat. Then you don't get them at first. This is the magnificence of AI. And so it asks you a bunch of questions that are not a human yet. Is this happening? Here's a downloadable booklet. Would this be helpful to you? It's like, no. And then every time you log on, it's going to ask you, has this booklet been helpful to you? I haven't read it. I don't want to read it. I want to talk to a human being. No, thank you. So you get through that. Sometimes it takes like 15, 20 minutes. And which, thank goodness I don't really have a commerce kind of a site. I'm not trying to sell bunches of stuff on the internet. And if I go down for half a day or a week, my business goes to, so, thank goodness there's nothing so urgent in what I do. I'm just trying to archive stuff so that you guys and I guys have a chance to keep all of the Dave's Gone By history available at our fingertips. So I'm trying, I get to a person, and invariably they're South Asian. Invariably they farmed all this stuff out. God forbid they should pay American minimum wage of like $12 or $14 or $15 to people. They're overseas. They're somewhere in Mumbai or Chennai, India, probably paying $8 an hour to these people. Which is, okay, fine. Hi, my name is Shishika Preet. Can I help you? And finally, even when you see that, it's almost still AI. You know that they're just copy paste. Oh, control 1. Hello, my name is Shashi Preet. Can I help you? What is your problem? Can you please send in your official code? And I've been having so many interactions with them over the past few weeks that I've literally saved my code so I can just copy and paste it and not have to go like, oh crap, I have to go to the site and then verify my thing on my phone. It's like, no, I just plug the number in. And every other day, I'm chatting with these people who say they're going to help, and half of them do absolutely nothing. And meanwhile, it's taking from the time that I try and log into a chat to logging off and saying, thank you for your help, and not meaning it because I haven't really helped yet. It can be a half hour to 40 minutes out of my life. Now, granted, when you're chatting and you're waiting for please allow 3 to 4 minutes while I check this, that is invariably 10. It's just like what they do in airlines when they say, we're going to be delayed over Dulles, Fort Worth for about 10, 15 minutes. That's a half hour to 40 minutes right there. The pilot always undercounts the amount of time so to allay people's frustrations and keep them from storming the plane. So same thing. It's like, please allow me 2 to 3 minutes. Usually 2 to 3 minutes is what they say to check into this. And then 8 minutes later, they come back to. One time it was so fantastic. It was like, please allow 2 to 3 minutes, and I'm like, okay. And then I wait, and then I wait, and then I come back. I'm working on stuff on another window. I come back to the chat window, and I write, well, question mark, and it says your chat has been timed out. I was like, while I was waiting for them to get back to me, the chat window had timed out. It was smoke coming from Dave's ears at this point. And the best one, this was absolutely the best. There was one person I was chatting with, and I feel sort of bad because some of these people, whether they're in America or wherever, are working themselves to the bone just to make a living, right? And they were so either crazy or, I'm guessing, exhausted and basically asleep, that they would just have lines. The tech person I was chatting with would do something like, how can I help you? Like, you XQZYYYY. Like, their fingers were just typing things that they weren't even thinking about. It was just like coming out of them without their control, because they were literally asleep on their feet or asleep at their desk. My dad told me a story. I can kind of remember it, but it was kind of the same thing. He used to work night hours at a job in the court system, transcribing, and he was a court stenographer and stuff, and doing that and typing memos and typing briefs for lawyers and things like that in the appellate division of the New York Supreme Court. And he told me one time, he was kind of pushing through and drinking coffee and working, and one time, and he's typing and he's transcribing, and so, he does it. He gets through about 2 pages of material, and rubs his face, goes to the bathroom, comes back and looks at what he's written, and he realizes it's nonsense. It's just been sort of whatever was in his head at that time had nothing to do with what he was transcribing, nothing to do with what he was listening to. His fingers just sort of kept moving, and it was sort of dreamland stuff. And he's like, okay, I better have another coffee, splash water on my face, and go home and do this tomorrow, because he realized he's just been pushing himself, and nothing good would come of this. So I get that with this person that I was talking about. I needed internet help, and meanwhile my site had been effectively down for days already, which is not acceptable, right? And so I get a person who's like, I will check on the look a little to that. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And of course they didn't do anything. And then things got fixed kind of piecemeal. So one person said, okay, and I love the fact that one person doesn't know what the other's doing. Like, one person will say, well, we can't fix this. That's literally what they said. I was like, we're going through some change stuff right now, and we're not able to help. I'm like, okay, so I wait 2 days, and they go back to them. I said, well, we can help by doing this. And then another one said, well, here's a whole list of things that you could be doing. I'm like, no, I'm not the fucking host of the site. I'm not in charge of the servers. I'm just in charge of putting content on this thing that has been working for years, mostly, and then kind of goes off the beam because someone either tries to mess with it or hack it, or some little glitch of coding happens. This is what I'm paying you to do. Please do it. And then I finally, after 2 weeks, I get somebody who was like, oh, yeah, this is a pretty easy fix. You always look for that one. And it never occurs to me, it's like, if you're talking to an idiot or someone, you just log out. Don't wait for the little survey afterwards. Just if you've gotten to them and you realize this is going to be a waste, more of a waste of goodbye. Don't have to be nice about it. Just bye, end window. I get one person who says, oh yeah, no, it's just there's one little HT something hexadecimal that has to be changed. And please wait 1 minute, which I did. And he's like, yeah, it should be working now. Right? Why I couldn't have found that one person 3 weeks earlier, or why they couldn't have trained all those other thousands of people who are doing tech for that company out there in, Mumchasa somewhere to understand that fairly simple fix beyond me. Meanwhile, so they fixed the site, they got it all back up and running, which was, thank you, thank you, thank you. But then they didn't fix the other problem that I had, which was that I told you that I can't upload these giant 2 or 3 gig files. I don't understand that. I really, really don't. In this world of digital everything and open bandwidth and so forth, why can't you have like a giant mega file? I mean, people are able to upload 92-hour movies on YouTube and Vimeo or archive.org. Why am I stopped from being able to upload a 2.5-hour video show? It just makes no sense. So I said, but wait a minute, guys. I've been crunching, as you have told me to do, for months on end. I have been crunching down the video files to keep them under 500 megabytes, right? And in that way, I've been slowly but surely being able to upload properly and comfortably. So yeah, I lose a lot of resolution, I lose a lot of stuff, not that much, actually. But, it's crunched down to a file size that apparently my site can handle, or you guys can handle, and uploading it. And now suddenly, you're not even letting me upload anything over like 200 meg, which is nothing. Like 200 meg for a video file just goes by in a few minutes. This is still unacceptable. And so for another week, I had to wait until, I literally had 3 chatty people on the Bluehost side tell me, well, yeah, we're going to increase your PHP file size. I'm like, whatever that is, go ahead. Yeah, if it's as simple as that, kindly do it. And you have to, on your side, just increase to hit this button, and that'll bring up the allowable file size of it. Whatever. And again, 2 or 3 more times, they said they would do it. Either they tried to and failed, or they didn't. Until I finally got a guy earlier this week who said, yeah, I'm going to increase your PHP file. You increase, the allowable size. And, but you can also put down if you want 2 or 3 gig. I'm like, really? You mean the way I was years ago when I had no trouble uploading 2 or 3 gig size movie files to my website? And then suddenly it stopped for no good reason? Even though I upgraded to like professional, whatever website hosting is, and they say, yeah, it should be okay. So last week, if you want to watch last week's show, episode 921, on davesgoneby.com, it's actually the full 2 gig file size. It's the whole actual file for the first time in a couple of years. So I was thrilled with it. Whether it'll work again tonight or tomorrow, I don't know, or I'll start crunching them back under 500. But either way, it looks like that our website is working, the uploads are working. So on that basic level, like you sort of after root canal, where you go in once and they clean and they go in twice and then they fix this and then all you want to do is kill dentists everywhere. But you come out and thank you, oh dentist, for fixing my mouth, and I don't have to come back for a while. Thank you. I feel like that with Bluehost. You did it. You fixed it. You made it happen. My site is working. It's working better than it had been for the past 2 years. Forgetting that amnesia that you get of like, why did it take you a month to fucking figure this shit out? No. It's like, all is right in the Daverhood world again. Where it is 20 to 10 Eastern time here in the Daverhood. We're doing our 922nd episode, and we're calling it, by the way, Thrust and PARI. PARI being for our upcoming guest, Al Parinello, who is Broadway producer, off-Broadway producer, former owner of a radio station out in New Jersey. He is the owner of a theater out in New Jersey. He's also had experience in cable and producing stand-up comedy and being a comedian himself. There's just a lot to unpack and talk about with Al Parinello joining us in the Daverhood quite shortly with the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Saul Solomon himself. Rabbi Saul has, of course, had a busy week dealing with not only all the anti-Semitism in the world, but also with Hanukkah. I hope you had a happy and good holiday. It was a very strange one for Jews all over the world. It was kind of nice to see all the people on Facebook, very specifically lighting a menorah and like popping that menorah as their homepage picture or their everyday. Here's the sixth candle. Here's the seventh candle. Here's the eighth candle. That's kind of a fuck you to all the people who want Jews off the planet and Israel off the map. They're saying, yeah, we lit this year. This year, we do Hanukkah every year. It's kind of, we do it because Christmas is so important. It's nice. We remember we're Jewish. This year is a little different. This year is like, hey, 8 fucking candles. Yeah, watch them glow. Watch them burn, baby. And Joyce and I, even this year, were more diligent about candle lighting. We bought this really pretty sort of remainder menorah at, I guess it was either Marshall's or Kohl's or Home Goods, one of those places. It's kind of neat. It's like fun for the retarded kid in your family because you can just play with everything. You can move the little spokey things so you can turn it into. We thought it was just pretty the way it was and didn't even realize that it had all this maneuverability. Whee! So, but I think it says everything about the joy and excitement of being. From the front it looks better like this. The joy and yet at the same time, the sadness and disappointment that's built into Jewish life, no matter what country, no matter who you are or where you are. They curve. Maybe this is really a brilliant thing. I'm having. This is better than fidget spinners, man. But one thing about this really, really cool menorah, which looked great lit up. We did all 8 days, but the pockets are pretty deep, which is good because it means the candles don't fall over. But when the candles burn down, and then you have to do the candles the next day, suddenly every single night, Joyce had to be in there, and I did a little too, but she did most of it, of like taking a tweezers and almost ruining a good pair of tweezers by having to go in there and like dig, because like the candle would burn down just a bit below the top of the candle holder hole, if you will. And she had to dig into the hole with tweezers and start grabbing at the thing. And sometimes it's very satisfying because you do it, so it's like plucking a baby out of the uterus. You just kind of grab it and you take like this much candle and you drop it away and it's perfect. Other times you kind of it's more of an abortion. You kind of sort of dig into it, break up the wax, kind of spill out the extra wax. Look at that. Extra wax just literally came out on the table here. Oops. Oopsie. Joyce will kill me. This is her desk. But yeah, you've got to kind of, dig at it, flush it out. And so it takes longer sometimes to clean up after the candle's burning than it does. Oh my God, look at all this schmutz. And schmutz, and it's waxy schmutz, so it can't get. I want to get stuck to the table here. Oh dear. Shh, don't tell Joyce I did this. Yeah, look at that. Look at all that schmutz. But just bring this in the garbage, folks. But this is why, we can't have good things. We can't just enjoy like the holiday. It's always got to be like, okay, let's enjoy this. Let's light the candles. It's beautiful. We'll do a prayer. We'll sing a song or two. We'll appreciate what it means to be Jewish and that we had a miracle all those years ago. But, oh, by the way, now, after we do this, we have to peel off like tons of wax and dig at it and get it out. And there's nothing more Jewish than having a wonderful moment and then seeing it ruined by the work and travail that comes after it. It's just like what's happening in the Middle East right now. There's nothing more heartening than after the events of October 7th, 2023, that a day later, Israel started, kicking ass, taking names, bombing, revenge, retaliation. And we knew that if revenge lasted more than a day and a half, the world would turn against us, which it has. If we actually went out there and tried to truly take back Gaza and destroy Hamas, they give us a day or two because the world felt a little sad and shocked about what Hamas did on killing 1,400 Israelis. And then it's like, okay, it was a surprise attack. They killed all these innocent people. We'll give you a couple of hours to get it out of your system and go kill some Hamas people. But, when Netanyahu warned them, it's like, no, this is not a day or two operation. We're going to be at this for months. We're going to go at them in tunnels. They're going to be hiding in fucking hospitals and churches. And we're not going to stop until we obliterate this cancer on the soul of the world. And he's been true to his word. Whatever he knew or didn't know about the attacks, whatever corruption that he might or might not be involved in, it's basically been, okay, you attacked us, you started a war, we're going to be in that war and we're going to fucking finish that war, right? And so the world went, after the first day or two, well, what, you haven't gotten your revenge yet? Haven't gotten out of your system? And like a week goes by and it's like, no, we're just getting started. And now the world is like, how can you get stuff? The Palestinians, they can't eat. They got no place to go. It's like they shouldn't have been there in the first place. Israel gave them several days to get out of where they were living, because Israel, look, if you live here, you can keep living here, but we're going to bomb. Okay? We're not going to be a surprise. We're not surprising you. You're not going to wake up in your bed and then die in your bed because, suddenly cluster bombs are coming through your window. We're going to start bombing. And Israel gave them like 24 hours notice, and then Biden convinced Israel, no, 24 hours isn't enough. They got to get out of town. They got to get into another country. They got to get to the borders. So Israel's fine, and gave them more than a week to get out of Gaza. Some left, some didn't. The ones who didn't are getting bombed and starving and not having lights or electricity, whatever it is. Don't care. Not crying one teardrop. I'm sorry. They had their chance. Leave. And Israel is trying. It's kind of funny. It's like Gaza has no food. Gaza has no light. Meanwhile, they still got bombs. Meanwhile, they still have guns and bullets. If they spent all that money on food and stuff and helping and medicine and helping the Palestinians long before October 7th, it would be a whole different Israel. Be a whole different world, wouldn't it be? But they didn't. And now Israel has to take shit from every left-wing celebrity, all these moronic college kids, not just the Ivy Leagues. We hear about the Ivy Leagues, but all across campuses of like colonialization. It's like, Jews were never there. It's like Jews were never there. It's like, I mentioned this last week. Jesus was, of course, if you believe in Jesus, which I do not, but Jesus was a rabbi in walking around Bethlehem and so forth in 0 AD, 2,023 years ago plus, which means there were rabbis even before 0, which means that Jews were not first in Israel in 1948. Like, we have some stake in the land going way back before then. So to say that we sort of stepped in and colonized the place is kind of like, I don't have anything funny to mention about that. Just to say, no, fuck you. We belong there as much as anybody else. And for the Palestinians or Arabs to say that we belong there too, it's like, yeah, you would if you lived peaceably, if you didn't attack us, if you weren't terrorists, if you weren't going to, offices where cartoonists in France draw cartoons and blow their heads off, if you didn't come up to writers, Pulitzer-winning writers like Salman Rushdie and stab his eye out, if you could behave like a civilized nation, we could talk. Until then, when you behave like the way you've been doing, we come back and say, okay, we're just going to turn all this land into a parking lot. If you don't like it, get the fuck out or fight to the death, but it will be to the death because we're going to kill you. And, how did I get on that? Oh, Chanukah. The resilience of the Jewish people, the oil burning for 8 days and 8 nights or whatever it is. So, not or whatever it is, 8 days and 8 nights. Lighting the lights of the lantern. Let's push this up. Let's make these nice again. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? It's a really lovely piece. But again, I dug more wax out, right? And the more you use it every year, it's going to have this accumulation. And the problem is when it's got the candle, the old candle stuff in there, you have to dig it out because the new candle won't fit on. What my mom does and has been doing since I was a child is, you ever do this? You burn a little bit of the bottom of the candle, so you melt that, and then that sort of sticks in because then you got the melty, it's soft, it goes right in and stays. But then you're just making more wax that you have to dig out and clean up. So I don't know. Anyway, it was a pretty candelabrum, a pretty, as they say, Chanukah. We call it a menorah, but it's a Chanukah that we were proud to have this particular time, this particular year, and I hope you had a fine and happy Hanukkah yourselves. Well, what else do I need to tell you before we bring our guest into the Daverhood? Does Mr. Rogers have anything to say?
Doesn't it feel good when you're just about to do something that you know is wrong, and you decide to do something else, something that won't hurt you or anybody else? Doesn't that feel great?
There's the only moment in history, I think, that Mr. Rogers kind of made your blood pressure go up a little bit. That it's just the way, that little thing in his voice that is wrong. I was like, whoa, fuck, Mr. Rogers does have a temper. Because you never figure, you never, ever, ever see that. But you can sort of feel like, doesn't it make you feel good when you know you're about to do something that you know is wrong? Then you feel better about it. Fuck, Fred, jeez. Someone didn't take his Darvon that morning. But anyway, what else do I have to talk about? Before we get to Al Parinello in the Daverhood, Rabbi Solomon in the Daverhood, plus Greeley Times, plus our Bunion Watch, plus our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we're going to Laporte, Colorado. Laporte, Colorado. Oh, I had, oh, well, yeah, here's one little other story that I wanted to tell, which is stuff that you just don't expect. I've been listening to, in the car, I've been listening to the Diaries of David Sedaris. It's called The Carnival of Snackery. Because I listened to one of his books and really enjoyed it, so I grabbed another one. And this is really, it's diary entries over a decade-long period of David Sedaris. And the agglomeration of them, the accumulation is kind of cool, because when you start listening, it's like, geez, so he had breakfast here, and he went to this country, and he went here. And sometimes the details are really mundane, but they overall do have this kind of interesting feeling of a life going by, a very privileged life going by. But also, he makes room for very funny things and incidents that are barely anything, and yet they still have a little something to them, like a little haiku-sized short story. And so I had a moment like the kinds of things that you would hear in or read in David Sedaris' diaries here. I was in the bathroom. I always have bathroom story. I was in the bathroom yesterday at Johns Hopkins because I wasn't, neither Joyce nor I was a patient. We were just having some, a thing to do there. But so we were at Johns Hopkins. I go to use the bathroom, right? And it's a urinal, and there's a stall right next to it. No big deal. So, but the problem is, this being a hospital, a public place in Baltimore, there's the urinal, and then there's like a puddle of what could be water or what could be pee directly in front of the urinal. So I'm like, great, okay. So I step around to the side of the urinal to pee, because I'm even in my sneakers, I don't want to just casually stand and piss. So I angle to the side of the urinal to where I can stand on dry land, and then I notice, it's so awful. So there next to the urinal is an actual stall, a closed stall with a toilet in it, and there's some gap between the wall of the stall and the back wall, and there's also, because it's a fairly nice hospital, medical center area, the back wall is marbly sort of shiny. It's like dark onyxy and shiny and polished and very nice, but also kind of reflective. So I'm able, completely accidentally, I'm angled. I'm literally like this on the urinal, and I notice not from the gap between the stall wall and the back wall, but from the reflection on the back wall that there's a large, rather fat man and his ass is on the toilet, and I can literally see this guy's ass and him on his cell phone. And I just started, I didn't out loud, but I started cracking up. I'm like, I shouldn't be seen. People have this illusion of privacy, and I'm literally able to watch this person take a shit by, by seeing his reflection on the wall. And I can see it hunched over because his giant ass on the seat, and him, I couldn't see what was on his cell phone. It wasn't like a two-way mirror. But I'm like, there should probably be some kind of solution for this, some kind of fix. Either make the surface of the wall a bit duller so you don't have a reflection, or cover up maybe the gap thing so that you can't. Whatever it was quite a wonderful moment. It was kind of if I were really weird and perverted, I would just kind of stand at the urinal and wait for the next person to just sit on the toilet and watch what they do. Because I'm like, interesting. So they blot, and then that's how they wipe. I wasn't. I just loved the moment. It was a carnival of snackery type moment for old Dave in the Daverhood. Anyway, it is only a minute or two before 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time. And guess what? We have a guest coming to the Daverhood. Two guests, really. Rabbi Sal Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And he will be interviewing entrepreneur and producer and man about town, if you will, Al Parinello. Should be a lot of fun in the Daverhood. So I'm going to get the Rabbi's music up. Stick around for much more of Dave's Gone. Where's the Rabbi's music? There it is. Dave's Gone By! Oh, shalom, my friends, and shalom, my enemies. This is your old pal, Rabbi Sal Solomon, the founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And what a delight, what a thrill it is for me to be here with you and to be here with a guest in this neighborhood today. Someone who's had an incredible career in media, in television, in theater, anything artsy, in radio as well. He is not, I believe, Jewish, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure from his name, Al Parinello, that he is a goy and possibly Italian. We'll ask him because, it's important to ask these kinds of questions. We're waiting for him to enter the neighborhood as we speak, and we're hoping that he will. We're just killing a little time now, so let me tell you a bit more about him. So, off-Broadway, in the very, very long run of the off-Broadway show, The Fantastics, you must have heard of it. So it was running since the early 1960s. He came in as a producer much later on in the run of the show. He also produced a show off-Broadway about Tennessee Williams. He also produced on Broadway, The People in the Picture. He owned a radio station in New Jersey, and he was, on some level, helped and was responsible for the comedy career of Andy Kaufman. So won't you please welcome to the neighborhood and give a big goyish shalom to our new friend of the Daverhood, Al Parinello. Shalom, Al. You gotta say something.
Amazing. It's amazing. I just don't know how you do it. By the way, I've decided to change my name for this interview. It's Al Parinellowitz.
Oh, you've made me happy already. You've made me want to get circumcised again, just because of that beautiful. So, but are you Italian? Are you one of those people?
Italiano, yeah, and we're very proud. I'm proud to tell you that the derivation of the last name Parinello actually means rancid cheese.
Is that see? I don't know whether to trust you on this because you work with Andy Kaufman for all this. So does it really mean one of those horrible blue, like French Italian cheeses things? It really does.
Yeah, stinky,
So,
stinky.
see, this is why you don't believe in cheeses. I do comedy, but ladies and gentlemen, so Al, first of all, what are you doing with your life right now? In other words, what are you working on? You own a theater, but what is your main goal?
Well, you know, I have a company, Parinello Entertainment, LLC. Let's not talk about that. But this company owns a theater, and I purchased this theater 7 years ago. It's called Surflight Theater. It's located in Long Beach Island, New Jersey, which is an interesting. You go back to why do theaters exist outside of Broadway, right?
I wonder about that myself. Yes.
Well, because people started leaving New York City and the big cities when the weather got too hot, right? So very smart people decided to put summer theaters up in places that were by lakes and by oceans. This particular one was invented in 1950. And it literally wasn't even a building. It was 4 posts and a tent on a beach in Long Beach Island, and people would flood to this place. Now, even today,
the place would flood because every once in a while the water would just go. Yeah.
that's exactly what I meant. So what happens is today there are only, ready for this, only like 8,000 to 9,000 homes on this big giant island that's like 18 miles long and very, very thin, right on the beach. But in the summer, in the hot weather, there are 150,000 people walking around looking for something to do. And that's why we sell out every show we do virtually.
But here's the deal: you bought this theater about 7 years ago, tried to get it back up on its feet, tried to get it going, and then COVID hit. At that point, did you just go wide, or did you think about getting rid of it, or did you just say, we'll wait this out and no problem?
We had a great couple of years, really great, because the theater had gone bankrupt and it had closed, and so it took somebody to come in, to buy it and rebuild it and hire the right people and so on and so forth. And I was in the right spot at that point. And I received a call from the guy that really was running the theater, and he basically said, out of nowhere, would you like to buy a theater? And he ruined my Christmas that year. He really did. He totally ruined, because I had to go through all the numbers, and while everybody else was celebrating and having parties, I'm looking at numbers and sending letters back and forth to the government, because it's a nonprofit, and that means every dollar that was ever created is on file. I needed to look at the trends. Why did it go bad? When did it go bad? What happened?
Let me ask you, why did it go? You have a room. How many seats is it? Like 400?
450.
450 seats. So what went wrong that you have been, God willing, able to correct? You do shows. You have musicals, I guess, that people go see. Why did nobody go see? What went? Or did you just not get grants? What is it?
If I had to put one word to define what went wrong, it would be greed. So what happened is they had this great staff of people running it. This happens in theater all the time. And then egos get in the way. And somebody came in, secretly went to the board of directors and said, you think you're doing well now? Hire me. I know everybody. I can bring everybody in. I can do this. I can do that. So they brought him in, and he destroyed the theater. I mean, he basically did everything wrong. everything. He raised the prices too high. He, he had people come in who were his friends who weren't exactly wonderful at what they did, and suddenly money was missing, and it goes like that. So and it was all the evidence was there. You see, oh look, growth under the old administration, and then suddenly what's going on? No one's coming. Why?
But is that greed or is that just incompetence? It's like he threw money not into his own bank account, but he just
I think incompetence was a part of it, but this was a person who just had an ego the size of heaven, and he just thought he was the answer to everything, and just destroyed the theater. So it sat empty for a couple of years, and that's when I got that fateful call. And I was I thought it wasn't exactly on my mind to do this, but I thought this would be, pretty good. I'm here to tell you that we're doing so well. It's absolutely absurd.
I would knock wood, but that's a Christian thing. So halavai, toy through the fingers is what we spit through our fingers.
Parinello wits.
And well, there you go. We spit through the fingers not so much as a superstition, but to get the phlegm out. But my question though is, are you completely a rental house, or are you producing shows there, or what is your role, if you will, at Surflight?
My role is to make sure we've got the right people in place. I'm a marketing guy. I do a lot of the marketing ideas. I've developed. Oh, and by the way, I put a whole I'm also a rabid reader, and I have an incredible library, and I've got over 3,000 actually autographed books by authors. This is just the thing I've been doing. So I decided I was going to put and it's the only one in the nation, and it's really rather cool. I have, I've always worked in the media. I've worked in the entertainment industry, and I've decided to take all of my books that I could part with, and create a library, a free loan library of only entertainment books. It's all we have, only entertainment. You're not going to read about history. You're not going to read about poetry. It's just entertainment industry.
I don't know much about history, don't know much about biology, but I do know that this is enjoyable. So now, but you have a free lending library. That's not filling the coffers here. But what I'm saying is, when you do a musical, are you involved, or do you just have people who
planning stages only? I've got experts who do everything, and they, and they're fanatical about it. I mean, they are just their job is to make everybody who comes to see a show really smile, really happy, and continue to buy tickets, and that's the key to running a theater.
And let me ask you, how much is a ticket, either a season ticket or a single ticket to a musical, a
they
show?
range. Yeah, no, it's the top price, and this is a beautiful thing, is like $44 for a ticket. And they go down. The kids' prices are in the 30s, low 30s, and so on and so. But we do a lot of kids shows as well. This is a factory, our product is whatever appears on that stage, but it's a factory. While the actors, we hire all of our actors, we have dormitories, we put them up, they stay with us all season, right? So there were 55 people on stage and off stage, all of the technicians, so on and so, they all live at the theater. They make a commitment. We have contracts, and they're there with us for 3 months during the summer. And then we fill it in with shows that we buy and bring in, but those are concerts and comedy shows and things like that.
Now you have brought up this thing of concerts. You have produced a whole bunch of concerts in New Jersey and other places, and we're talking with like some pretty well-known, everything from this to yeah.
I'll give you an idea of what I produced. And now a lot of these things, my radio station was an alternative rock station. So we had, we were able, because I'm a one guy owner and I don't have to report to a board of directors and a corporate headquarters and so on and so forth. We have ideas, we put them into effect almost immediately. And by the way, that is one of the keys to running a business, really, just to not have to deal with bureaucracy. And I have this notion in my mind that's always with me, and that is, Al, always depend on the negativity and the relaxing attitude of all of your competitors. because they don't care. They just get their salaries, and that's not, they don't have to run their own budgets. They really don't. It's all about feeling free in business, and that's the way I've always done it. That's why I'm an entrepreneur. That's why I run my own businesses. Um, all of this stuff started when I was a teenager. It really did. I was like a 14, 15-year-old. I was writing. I was a TV baby. That's really what I was, a TV baby. I
Wait, you were
love television.
transvestite? And so
I'm
were you
sorry?
a girl? You were a transvestite, so you were a girl, or no, no.
That's no, 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 no. That's exactly it. Plus, I love television.
There you go. That's what makes
Exactly.
it. Yeah. So
And I'll go with this any way you want.
good.
Uh, so the bottom line is I would write letters every year. I would write letters to to NBC, CBS, and ABC, and those letters would be really based on just my unique knowledge of what I was watching on TV. And I would say, by the way, I just read in TV Guide that you've got this new show. It stinks. I mean, it's not a good idea. It's ridiculous, and you should not do this.
Well,
And so,
there's this bigot, and he's running the family. He's got his daughter with her husband living. What? And it's based on an English show. Come up with something of your own. What kind
exactly,
and
exactly.
you're going to set another television comedy in the Korean War? Who wants to tune into the Korean War? I mean, just terrible ideas,
So thank you. So the bottom line is when the show failed, which it always did, because I was pretty much always correct, I would write them another letter. And I would say, I told you so. Why didn't you listen to me?
Do you
But
remember
this-
any of the programs that you bitched about? Do you remember?
Oh no, the list is too long. I don't have that in my memory banks any longer. That was I mean, we're talking many years
I
ago.
know, it could have been Pink Lady and Jeff. I mean, that was
That was probably one of them.
yeah.
But so what happened?
Animal. Yeah.
When I got the letters back from like CBS and I saw on the envelope CBS television, I began thinking to myself, I'm part of this industry. I'm really part of this industry. I'm going back and forth and I'm getting mail. Now, this mail was coming back from secretaries, and 94 other people received that same letter that day. Thank you for your, so on and so forth. But it didn't matter to me because those little envelopes, I kept them. I still have them. The envelopes, just and I didn't want the letters because they never said, thank you very much for your idea. We'll consider it. They never said that. But that was my introduction to the world of television, and that stayed with me. My first job was at ABC Television.
Doing
And
what did you do?
I was in affiliate relations. I learned how the network worked. And then I was in charge of all of the ads that they couldn't sell.
Oh,
I would package and try to market in unique ways to get them sold, so that they could keep some of the profits and ABC would keep most of the profits. So,
right.
things
Yeah,
like
all
that.
right.
But I learned networking.
Are you sure you're not Jewish? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and from there it was just a matter of looking around, and I found cable television. To me, cable television was coming. It didn't exist. I looked very seriously at it. I started writing letters to the government about this thing called satellite communications, which was going to change the entire industry. I brought it all into my head, and I thought, now how do I get involved in this stuff? So I just started writing letters again. I had all the information from the government about how the satellite works, and then I started one of my first jobs. I was selling advertising in the uptown New York City system, which was owned by Teleprompter at the time. So yeah, and I made the first beer commercial for the Knicks and Rangers game. And that was like big news to everyone because Schlitz beer was now advertising in Knicks and Rangers games. So little things like that just connected me. And then I started reading the first satellite was being launched. And I thought to myself, wow, I now have cable television experience. I have broadcast experience. They should know about me. And I also had knowledge. I really had knowledge, technical knowledge of how these satellites work. These things are launched, they go into a geosynchronous orbit. You know, here's the Earth, here's the satellite. As the Earth turns, the satellite's in the same direction. So the antenna would never get lost. You'd always be able to have a geosynchronous, you know, and this was turned me on tremendously. So I started writing letters.
Strange sex life there, but all right, okay, yes.
That too. And the so the bottom line is I had an interview which I almost blew. It's the greatest interview of my life. And I'm sitting there, this guy, this old timer who's a wonderful, wonderful guy, is saying, so, you know, we're looking for someone who can be aggressive and understands the cable industry, as that's me, and understands broadcasting, and that's me, and understands a little bit about that. That's me, satellite. I get it. And I was talking to him about satellites, and we sat there, and the interview was going fantastically well, fantastically well. And then all of a sudden, and this was a while ago, right? All of a sudden, he lights up a cigarette and he starts puffing the smoke. Now, I've had asthma as a child, and I'm thinking to myself, what do I do? I'm going to start, you know, coughing. This is really, really bad. So and this is a unique part of my life. The story I'm telling was really, really something else. So I'm thinking to myself, this is going really well, but it's already getting in my nose. My head is getting clogged. I can't, you know, I'm getting, you know, I really was, and I said, I gotta do something. I just have to. So I said, excuse me, sir, would you kindly put the cigarette out so we can continue? Because I'm really starting to feel it. And he was very, very obliged. You know, he obliged me. He said, oh my God, I'm sorry. But in the back of my head, I'm like, Al, you just blew this interview. This is the greatest interview of your life. This is the most important thing. You just blew it. And we ended the interview, and I shook hands, and I'm like, Al, you're such an idiot. Why did you do that? Why did you do this? Guy has your future in his hands. Anyway, I walked out very, very dejected in my own head, but I'm trying to act like, oh, nothing's wrong. I go home, I'm depressed. I'm depressed for 2 days, and the phone rings. You got the job.
And oh, I thought you were going to say he died of lung cancer, and then the next I hired you.
It was a terrible funeral, but I survived.
So what did you do for HBO and Showtime and
I put him on the bird. I had high level meetings with you know, the presidents and so on and so forth. And we sat down and I put together, I explained to them. I was the only guy in this country who was literally doing this routine. This is the Earth. This is the satellite. Boom, 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 right? Technically, I had no idea how this stuff worked. But what I would do is because I'm not a technician, I don't understand the science. I understand the marketing. I could sell the concept. That's all it was. So then if there was doubt, I'd say, why don't you do this? Why don't you allow us to take you and the team up to where we have our uplinking facility, and we will show you. We'll put you on camera, and we will show you a picture of you here, right here at the facility, and then right next to you, the picture as it comes down from the satellite. And it's like, wow, you know, let's do it.
Right there, you had him. You had him.
You know, and I was interfacing with technical people all this time. I had enough knowledge to understand what would sell this. So we'd stand the president here. We take a picture of him. He's looking at himself on the TV. I said, all right, now it's going to go to the satellite. Ready? I'd hit it. Boom. The button goes up. 1/2 of a second later, boom, it comes down on the other screen. And
so
it's like
that waving a half second.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's how this was sold. That's honestly how the first one was HBO. The second one was Showtime. The Ted Turner, you know, CNN, ESPN. ESPN was amazing. ESPN was absolutely amazing. That's my target. You know, I have stars above that particular story, because as people began understanding in the industry that this stuff is working, and these new satellite dishes were going up all over the country. They were called Earth stations back then, but now they're dishes. And yeah, right. So at any rate, I walked into. I got a phone call from a guy. His name is Bill Rasmussen. And Bill, one of the nicest people in the world, said, I hear you're the guy to talk about to get, you know, to utilize a satellite for video. And I said, yeah, what do you have in mind? He said, well, we're putting together a network for New England And Bill was employed by a New England team, a sports team. And he thought satellite would be great. We can go all over New England and everybody can, and satellite is an inexpensive way to go because, before that you had to buy terrestrial lines, a line from New York to Chicago, and then from Chicago to someplace else, and ultimately to Los Angeles. These things cost a lot of money, and it was all charged per mile per dollar. So it was, it was very expensive. Satellite, up, down, boom, done. You just buy the part of the satellite called the transponder. You lease it, and it just throws the signal back down to an ellipsoidal beam that covers the entire country. So I said to Bill, I went to the meeting, and I said to him, "Why are you only going to use the satellite for New England?" And he said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "The satellite covers the country." And he said, "You mean to tell me for the same price, we can take our programming and go nationwide?" And it was one of those moments in life where he and his son was sitting there, Scott and Bill, and they were looking at each other, and they're like, we got to do this. We got to. Little did I know, and I'm going to expose something right here.
Not
I've
on
never
camera. Just yeah. Not that kind of a program.
I'm so sorry. I forgot. I forgot who I was talking to, Your Highness. So the bottom line is, we shook hands and they were excited about it because now they figured out if we can, expand the programming, we don't only have to do New England, but ESPN was born that day. But here's the thing: what I didn't understand is that these guys were broke. They had no, they had no money. And you know why? But they sat me in this beautiful office. They gave me a nice lunch. They did all the nice stuff. I went back to RCA and I said, these guys are great. They know the stuff. They're seriously, committed to the idea. I had no idea they were broke. But here's the story I'm exposing. ESPN, which is now a multi-billion-dollar international company, the largest sports network on earth, right? ESPN was born that day. And the reason it was born, and the reason I went back and told the executives at RCA, let's take these people seriously, because transponders were selling out at the set. Big companies were coming in, ABC, so on and so forth. So they went to a bank, and Bill had a credit card. And Bill slapped his credit card on the table and said to the woman behind the counter, "How much can I borrow on my credit card?" And the woman looked up his account, right? Looked up his account and basically came back and said, "We can advance you $8,000. $8,000 they used to rent that office, to buy me lunch, and to do all the things, like make stationery, so on and so forth, to make this thing happen." And
Where were they going to get the money to buy to rent the transponder?
This is how you start a company. You go out and you tell your story. If you have a transponder, everybody is going to want to give you money, and they're going to want to invest in your company. They're going to want to, be part of this incredible vision that you have. And these were visionary people. Ted Turner, I used to have meetings with him at the airport. I'd fly to Atlanta and we'd have a meeting and we put together. He was trying to put, not CNN, that wasn't in his mind yet. It was his a TV station, an independent station. It was called the first Superstation, and it was WTBS, Turner Broadcasting Systems. And but now he wanted to take this station and leapfrog it all over the country. And what we found out in going to the FCC and saying we want to do this is that it's not legal. You can't. The TV station owner cannot sell the signal outside of its signal area. That's where it was. But if he got a common carrier involved, that's another new words that that all these new things were developing, then it can happen. So I had to work with the common carrier to figure out the system and then apply to the FCC for the rights to do that. It was a big,
Let me ask you. By the way, we're talking with Al Parinello here on Dave's Gone By on the Daverhood on this Shabbos morning, December 16th, 2023. I am Rabbi Salsa, of course. Let me ask you though. So you were so ahead of the curve in terms of satellite, in terms of broadcasting and transponders and this and that. So I'm a little surprised that in much more recent times, you went and bought an analog New Jersey radio station as opposed to getting involved with Sirius XM or that kind of multi world broadcasting. What
Right.
was yeah.
So, being the entrepreneur that I was, by the way, that's all the great stuff that I was telling. It was fun. It was great. It was vibrant. It was growth. It was boom, boom, boom. But then I had a job, in a bureaucratic, room, and it was just like the nonsense of bureaucracy that just kept coming and coming. And what happened is I got this job at Warner, which was great, and I was now the satellite guy. I just sold 2 transponders to Warner, and one became Nickelodeon, and the other one became the movie channel. So that was how I got into programming, and that was great, and it was good. And we were opening Nickelodeon all over the country, and I was all over the place, and I was like, the happiest guy in the world. And then the nonsense started. It was like whoever was making the decisions decided we really now have to bring the real television people into this company. So they started hiring people from NBC and CBS and ABC, one of which became the president of this new division of Warner, producing all this stuff. And then the president I was sitting with on a daily basis, I'm not going to use names, but this was, you can look it up yourself, but this was the president of CBS came to become our boss.
We're not talking about Bill Paley. We're talking about someone after Paley, right? After Bill Paley.
Oh, yeah. Way after Bill Pelly. So I'm sitting and I'm teaching him his job. And here's how the satellite works. Here's how, the receiving works. Here's the expenses. This is what you need to know. Boom, I'm giving him a classroom stuff every day. And that was just the beginning of my misery. So then it was like he's calling his people from CBS in. Now we've got layers and layers and layers of bureaucracy. And they're paying me very well, but quite frankly, I was, became bored out of my mind because I was no longer, the visionary. I was no longer the guy that, it was now I had boss after boss after boss after boss. So now it's like, well, Al, I think we have to relegate your responsibilities and take this away from you. And I thought, okay, time to get out. Just time to get out. This is not where Al Parinello is going to spend his life. So I created the radio show. And the radio show was called Your Own Success, and it was all about the success stuff that I've always read about and learned in all my books and so on and so forth. And it was a great show. We started it on WMCA in New York City.
Look at guys,
yeah. And then it expanded. There's a whole story which I won't go into, but the bottom line is we got a call. We'd like to be your syndicator and take that show out to the world. So became we were.
By the way, Anita, is that your lovely wife, or is it?
I don't know.
Did
she pop in the picture?
The night, or who was?
Anita, Anita? Come over here. Say hi to these nice people.
Hey, say hi. Say hi. Shalom.
All right.
She's blonde.
Anita?
Oh, now she's just running back. Hello.
Hey, this is my beautiful wife, Anita.
Hello, beautiful wife, Anita. Shalom to you.
This is Anita Parinellowitz and Al Parinellowitz. Hi, audience.
Okay.
She's the person who stood by me while all this nonsense was going on. She's a hero. She really is.
Or let me ask you, how long ago did you meet? When did you meet? How long you been together? All that stuff. Either one of you could
take it.
We met. We just celebrated our 50th anniversary. I know we're old, and we went out 5 years before that.
Yeah.
Good.
So do the math.
So it's a long time, and I still love him. Amazing.
This is astonishing too. I mean,
I'm like this though with her. Yeah.
What do you do? What are you?
Anita's a retired teacher. She was a special ed teacher, which is why we get along so well.
So wait. Al was telling Dave, the producer of this show, that the thing that you should tell children and young adults is not really to pay it. How did you put it?
What did I say? I don't remember what
It
discussion.
had to do for advice to kids. It's like don't pay attention to what they're actually telling you.
Oh, yeah,
Take
yeah.
care of-
Just treat them as adults, you know? I mean, you know, the bottom line is we have two grandchildren now,
Oh,
and
oh, goodbye. She's
and
coming off. She can't
and
tolerate me anymore already. Yes.
they think I'm crazy, but you know, because they meet other kids with fathers who go to the office every day in New York, and you know, I go to studios and stuff like that. So I'm sort of this character. But that's the way life is, you know. I mean, it's very cool. We love our lives. We really do. And
So I pulled you away from that. You were talking about uh, a radio station. You wanted it was available. It was in New Jersey.
yeah. Yeah, and so I bought a stereo, excuse me,
No.
an FM radio station that did not run in stereo. It was and it was run by some entrepreneur, you know, who had his head up his foot, and he think about that for a second. And he just needed to get out because he was not making any profits. And so the station was available, but it needed to be upgraded, right?
Well, let me. I keep interrupting you because I'm Jewish, but let me. So when we spend X, what was it, 200, 300 grand on a station? What
Right.
did you get? Did you just get a tower? Did you get a building? Did you get any of the people? I mean, what does that buy when you?
I got nothing. What you do is you get a certificate from the government that says you now are responsible for paying all the bills. So I had to go out and rent a building. I had to go out and make sure that the antenna the station was you know, was using. You don't buy antennas, you lease them. Nobody can buy an antenna. It's a very complicated, highly technical business. So I had to lease the antenna so that the signal could get out. But I had to move the station because it was in a, you know, a shack somewhere. And I put it into a nice office in a town called
All
Summer.
of which you still had to pay for beyond the down payment for the state, but beyond the actual mortgage or not more, whatever the price that you had.
I had to pay cash for the station. And I had my partners and I have, because I'm an entrepreneur, I buy businesses, I sell them, so on and so forth. But I had a self-storage facility in the Fort Lee, New Jersey area, you know,
Best
with the
place for
power.
storage,
So
yes.
nobody had enough room. And we converted this building that was a dress factory. We converted it into a self-storage facility, and we had 501 units from 5x5s to 20x20s. And it was and it was unique because we had it heated and air conditioned as well. So a lot of the drug companies, you know, when they have samples of drugs, they needed the heat and they needed the air conditioning in the summer. So it was a hot facility, and we made it a hot facility. And
It was not. It was so big that not only would they bring storage wars, but you would have storage civil wars because on one side of the building,
that's right. By the way, if you ever saw that program, Storage Wars, right?
Yeah,
The guy that was taking people around for all the auctions, that was me. I decided I'm going to do the auctions. So, you know, when people don't pay in a self-storage unit, you have to go through a process. You have to take ads in newspapers, and you know, you have to send them letters and so on. And if there's no response, you get to sell their stuff. But the law is you can't sell it individually. I can't go in and say, oh, that's a nice bicycle. Somebody give me $20 for it. You sell the room. And so that's the way it's done. You open it up and they're not allowed to go in and inspect. They can look at the room and make an offer. And that was fun. That was really fun because
and you were the auctioneer. You would be the one saying, you know, the bid starts with $300 on this entire unit.
Exactly. I want to start this because, you know, we're looking at, I think, you know, we're going to start this room with $200. Who's got $200? Who's got two? I got it. Okay. Who's got 210? Who's got 220? Who's got two? Boom, boom, boom. It goes up and up and up. And you try to get the highest price. All I wanted to do at that point is to just get rid of the room so I can rent it again because it's not making any money for us. So if I can get a little cash to pay some of the bills that were not paid, that's nice. That's all. It's not like a way to get rich. But the people who bought those rooms, oh my God, some of the stuff. One guy had a bunch of boxes in the way of his motorcycle. And they got a motorcycle for like a couple of $100. Another guy found a couple of diamond rings. Another guy found, now I know how religious you are, so I don't want to go too far here. May I May I just?
Oh, you may.
Oh,
Oh,
I may.
you
Okay,
may.
okay.
Yes.
So it was sadomasochistic furniture.
Whoa. Wa- Was my DNA still on it? I'm just curious. Did you ever
and
find a
and
body? Did you ever find like a corpse or like an aborted fetus or
no,
something in
we
one of them?
found a few guns, and that's the law is you have to report them immediately to the police who come in and take them and all that stuff. No one can keep guns if that's the case. So, but there was a motorcycle, there was all that S&M stuff. There was
How
oh,
much
and by the
did
way,
you take home? Ask that wife of yours.
I
Well, was there a swing perhaps with a
that
different
no
feature or
the,
no,
the
no,
the
not
spanking bench stayed there. But I do have the pic. No, there was actually a portfolio of pictures of the users, and that was kind of unique.
Yeah.
But yeah, but at any rate, so these and I wonder why they went broke. And anyway, but that's what happens, you know. But that was an
When
exciting business.
you got,
I
I
mean,
guess, tired of this, or you saw the radio station for sale, you just it was like you sold your part of the storage facility.
yeah, and then I used that money to buy the radio station, which is really the business I wanted to be in.
Okay.
And it was a couple of $100,000. But I sold that radio station for like a lot more than
You
that.
told me,
So
you told Dave the other day it was it's a
yeah,
nice
yeah,
chunk of
yeah.
retirement change right there. You never have to work
Yeah.
again if you don't want to. But
So, between the radio show, the radio station, the satellite work, I decided, let me start investing in shows, in actually producing, shows. So when I had the radio station, which became, very, very hot. By the way, I do have a list of some of the people. I produced Snoop Dogg. I produced Kid Rock. I
wait. You have asthma and you have problems with clouds of smoke. How
right.
close could you get to Snoop Dogg back in the day? It was a
Let me tell
different
you
kind of
something.
smoke, but come on, how did you manage it? Did he puff in your face? It's
I
like,
know, I know, I know. It was a tough room to handle. It was a tough room. So all kinds of groups like Stained and Three Doors Down, Lenny Kravitz,
half Jewish, yeah.
yeah, it's big stuff. But what happened is the casinos in Atlantic City, because my station was South Jersey, the casinos were all over the place. I started producing smaller shows in nightclubs, in taverns, popular, places like that, big bars where the kids would come, and the lines for some of these shows that I bring in all this talent. The lines were going around the block. And I'm no fool. I'm scratching my head and I'm saying, why are we doing this? Why don't we try to take some of this stuff to the casinos that have the big rooms, thousands of seats. So we started making some calls. The next thing I know, I get a call from this manager of one of the casinos. We'd like to come down and talk to you about a relationship. So that's how this thing manifested. And then next thing I know, I'm producing shows at the various casinos. I I'm a guy who's just, just a guy. I didn't know anything about these businesses. I was learning rapidly. But then one day, I went to this casino. I got a call from the president of this casino. And basically it was the Plaza Casino on the boardwalk. And he said, I'd like you to do some shows here. But as I walked in, I'm looking around and I'm thinking, these people look very, elderly here. I see a lot of wheelchairs and a lot of, oxygen, and I'm thinking my rock shows are just not going to do well here. Now, this is a key. This is a key to something that I think is very important. So I remember saying to this guy, and I don't know where it came from. I just don't know where it came from. It was just like I think the mind grows as the experiences are lived. And I said to him, have you considered doing Broadway musicals? And this was the key question he asked me. He said, can you do that?
You said the first thing that came into your mind,
And
yes.
I have this concept that has grown in my head. And it's called The Way We Speak is the evolutionary bridge to everything. So the concept that I built that I utilize often is to speak in the assumed tense, not the present tense, the assumed tense. You know what you know back here. You know who you know back here. You have it all. It's there. Your brain makes the decision for you. It clicks in the assumed tense. My answer to his question was, yes, I could do that. I wasn't lying. I was knowing who I knew, what I knew, and answered brilliantly. Yes, I can do that. And he said, well, he said, if you can do that, that makes more sense. Because I said, I think you're too old for a rock
And you're not
concert.
bringing
Right?
Sting.
Yeah.
Maybe Joan
So,
Baez, maybe Tom Jones. You could bring them in. That'd be
well,
great.
that answer became a 2-year, the rest of my life. I started, it took me about 9 months to get this started because of the bureaucracy and, all the
And they
other
realized
stuff.
that. You warned them, look, I can't do it next month.
No,
If we do this, it's going to take, yeah.
I had to assemble the pieces. But the funny thing is, I started thinking, who can help me do this in my list of names and people I've acquired along the way. So over and over, I heard people say, Al, you really don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a theater in Long Beach Island who is doing this already. Why don't you just go up there, talk with them, and do a relationship? Just relate with them.
But Surflight wasn't bringing in equity national tours the way a casino would. Surflight was, I thought they were doing kind of their own
Didn't
thing.
matter. It didn't matter. They were putting Broadway musicals together on a regular basis, and they were doing well with it. That was in the days
This
they
is
were
before
doing
that,
well.
right? Okay, yeah.
So I went up and I sat down with their artistic director, and I said, I have an opportunity to really do a big deal down in Atlantic City. I've never produced a Broadway musical in my life. You do it every day. Let's partner. Let's work out a deal. I'm the producer. You produce.
You're the line producer. Yeah, okay, got it. Yeah.
And
Nice,
well,
yeah.
they don't know him from a hole in the wall, but they knew all the work I was doing. I had to be the top billing guy. So
So
we
they
made,
just bring the shows they were doing at Surflight into, and no, you had to be bigger than that,
yeah,
right?
yeah, that was my learning curve, I mean, my assumption was, hey, they'd finish up a show there, they bring it down here. No, it wasn't that simple. We had to recreate. And what we did through them is we did all of our hiring, all of our casting in New York City. We had a special dispensation arranged with the rights, to get the rights and to use some equity, most equity people to put we reinvented the wheel. We literally negotiated a whole new way. They loved it because actors would get more work. That's what they cared about.
They'd
I
be
loved
on the shore in New Jersey in July and August. It's like, why not? Yeah.
exactly,
Well, no,
exactly.
actually, Atlantic City wouldn't be. That would be any time of year. That's kind of the point.
Exactly.
But
So it was, it really was a great relationship. And that's the guy who called me so many years later, 7 years ago, and said, Al, would you like to buy a theater? And I thought, yes, because I know these people, I know this theater. It's a beautiful theater. I mean, really, it's gorgeous. It's all being reshingled now, it's just beautiful.
you have your season set for 2024. Do you know what
Yeah.
you're going to be doing in July? Or what are the shows?
$1 million, what's that
Quartet,
show called?
$1 Million Quartet about.
Quartet. Thank you.
Yeah.
That, by the way, that was the first year that I had the theater. We did that show, and I was blown away by the show. Do you know the show?
I just said good. I've seen it.
Elvis and all
I think
the
you
other
should do,
three.
but you should do a version with Shlomo Karbach, Yafa
Right.
Yarkoni, Speak Nick, and
Of
I don't know,
course.
and Snoop Dogg, just for
Absolutely.
variety. Yeah.
Absolutely. So and then we're doing, I wish I had it in front of me. I'm sorry. I should have had it on my
That's fine.
desk. Because
Look it up.
but it's a great thing.
Surflight.com is the
No, surflight.org.
or
Surflight.org. You'll see all the new shows that, you know, and it's going to be a hell of a scene. And on top of that, it's the theater's 75th anniversary. So we're doing a lot of unique things for the entire year. No, it's just been a wonderful, wonderful business. And by the way, you mentioned the COVID thing that came right in the middle of this. We actually built a tent across the street from the theater. And it was a gigantic circus tent. And we were one of only 12 theaters in America that were opened
because it
throughout
was basically
COVID.
outside. You had people were
Big outside,
Yeah.
open, flaps open. We had fans, and plus we also separated groups of people, so no one sat next to each other. And it was like it was just a beautiful thing. Now we couldn't do the 4-dimensional things that we do in the studio, but it was fine. People wanted to be out. They wanted to see shows. They wanted, to have fun, and we were right across the street from the theater.
What is the fourth dimension? I know there's three. Where's 4 come from?
Because we are so special, we always add a dimension. And in addition to that, Surflight Theater also has Showplace, and Showplace is where we do the show after the show. Showplace is an ice cream parlor, but your ice cream is served by singer dancers. And between all the meal, by the time you come in, it's an hour show, and we do a show from 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, and 11 to midnight if there's people
The
online.
ice cream parlor's open even during the actual production.
Correct.
Yeah.
And this is a whole separate staff of people. These are not the actors we use for the shows, because they're doing, they're rehearsing one show in the afternoon and doing one show at night, and 4 days a week doing also a children's show. It's a factory. So, and it's just an incredible business, and our product, our shows in every way imaginable. And it just keeps going. I just wish the season was longer. We start in June. Actually, I was there 2 nights ago, because we're doing a Christmas show right now. We're doing the Christmas Story, with the kid with the tongue on the pole. Right?
How's the weather? Are you able to do? Are there people?
Well, we are loading up. It's like people come in just for the Christmas, show. They come, and we do 2 weeks.
If you can do that, why not do a season all year long, or is that just not feasible?
No, because people go home. They go live their lives. It's I mean, there's not enough people on the island to support it. It's filled with second homes. So people from Philadelphia, from New York City, have second homes in Long Beach Island. I live in Bergen County. Bergen County is the zip code for Bergen County is the 3rd largest second home owners of Long Beach Island. So it all works this way very well. It really does. And by the way, you need months to put together the next season. You need months to do all the paperwork, to make the agreements, to sign the contracts, to negotiate. So this is a beautiful. It's like an 8-month theater, because we stretch the shows. We're now doing. We've got the Jersey Tenors coming in for New Year's Eve, and we'll do 2 shows, one at 5, one at 8. Totally sold out. Totally sold. All 450 seats. You can't get a ticket. But everybody should go to the webpage and take a look at what we do. I do a show.
Yeah, sorry.
I do a show about every show that we do there with our artistic director, Steve Steiner. So he and I talk about the show that's coming up. We talk about the history of the show, where it came from, so on and so forth. So you'll see that there as well. It's surflight.org. Take a look at it. It's worth your time.
No, surflight.org, because you don't have a website of your own that people can go to where they can follow. Oh, yes, you produced the Fantastics, right? But that was the revamp, right? That was when it was at
Revival
Street or something like that. It was
yeah. It was the what's that? Snapple. It was the Snapple Theater for a while, and now it then became the New York Theater.
Was that worth it? But did you get enough customers to come back to the Fantastics during that? Because it ran a while, long
Oh,
after
yeah.
it closed at the on Sullivan Street. So
Right.
was
Right.
was it a good? Did it work out well?
Well, what happened is the answer is yes and no. We had full days, 2, 3 days a week. Audience was sparse some of the nights. You know what the biggest problem was? The biggest problem was the fact that Broadway started using laser beams and waterfalls. And that's what people went to see. They went to see the incredible big giant productions with all kinds of special effects and lights and zoom and then the Fantastics is exactly the opposite. It's a
And
small,
Peggy and a harp, essentially.
yeah,
But here's the deal. That's you can say that, but since Miss Saigon and the Falling Chandelier of Phantom, I mean, that was the 80s. So
I know.
to say that 25 years later, it's still people are going to for the sis boom
Right.
Broadway. I mean, they had been for a long time. It's not
Right, right. But the Fantastics to me were one of the greatest moments of my life because I love that show so much. Um, when I was a kid, back, I guess I don't know, 15 or something. My mother and father divorced, and my father remarried, and she was a unique lady. And she decided that for their wedding, they would not do the traditional thing, but rather she bought the theater out. It was a small theater, the Sullivan Street Theater,
yeah.
right? 111 seats, I think it was. And that's where and she took me there. And I was like, I play stickball in the afternoon. Who needs a show, And I was just like, I sat there and I watched this small show, and it had such an incredible effect on the rest of my life. It really, really did. It was just like, what is happening on that stage? I can't believe it. It was just a beautiful event. I'll never forget it. So we started going when Anita and I met. My thing, by the way, is as I was going, I was dating, these ladies. I would take them to see the Fantastic. This was always the first date. It was always the first date.
Every single, my God.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
worked on Tinder
And
like 4 times a week. Hey, let's go see. You never guess what show we're going to see.
But the more I saw the show, the more I fell in love with it. It was endearing to me. It was like, what is this? The words were so beautiful. The simple attitude of the show, and to mold it around moonlight and sunlight. How simple and wonderful and beautiful is that? So I was like enamored by it. I started playing it on my harmonica. I was just like, no, I'm a harmonica player, and I'm thinking these songs. I mean, try to remember. I mean,
I'm
the
trying,
song.
but I can't. But no, I can't. No, how about the classic of all classics? Plant a radish, get a
Get a
radish.
radish, not a sauerkraut. Da, 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 da. That's what life's about. I mean,
Yes, that's right.
it's just,
You
just
must
beautiful.
have known our late friend of the Daverhood, who was on this program a couple of years ago, who was in the show late in life. You must have known Tom
Oh,
Jones.
and what? Oh, yeah. Oh, you're asking me, have I met Tom Jones? Do I
Well, of
know?
course, you met. You were producing the show. You must have. He was playing
Absolutely.
the
And he was
character.
playing the part, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's funny, humor is always important to me. And Tom and I were buddies, we knew each other. We sat down, talked, had many, many discussions together. I love the guy. As I did his associate. And as a matter of fact, when I had my radio show, back to WMCA, back to doing the local show on radio, I loved the Fantastics so much that I called one day and I said, look, I do this radio show on WMCA. I love your show. I'd like to do something every week on the Fantastics. And they said, hold on, let me put, and they put, and they put,
Harvey Schmidt got on the line. What would you like to do?
yeah, Harvey. So, and Harvey and Tom, I had them come into to the studio at WMCA. We played the songs from the Fantastics, and we announced that every week there would be a Fantastics contest. and we would give away tickets to the Fantastics, right? So I incorporated that into my life way back then. I love this show so much. I didn't do this out of, out of any other reason except I loved that show. I dedicated my life to that show. When I got the call, that they were wondering if I'd be interested in producing it as the lead producer for the show, I was like a kid. I was like a kid on Christmas morning.
So you, I thought Catherine Russell, but maybe she was just the landlord of the.
Yeah, she was the person who basically assembled it. She inherited it from the production, and she was loaded with other work, and she needed a producer.
So let me ask you though.
Excuse
you
me.
made the decision to invest in that show. You also on Broadway invested in or produced or
Right.
a show called The People in the Picture,
Correct.
which I unfortunately did not get to see, even though.
Oh man, it's
I mean,
wonderful.
did not. I got some good reviews, and the people I know who saw it said it was really, really good. But you must have known it was not going to be financially successful. So did you just do it for love, or?
I did it for love. I lost money on it, and I lost more money on it than I've lost on anything. But I have zero regrets. I mean, nobody wants to lose money, but the bottom line is I got to produce a Broadway musical. I got to sit throughout the entire, I mean, I never knew what this was like. It was a party every night. It was serious discussions with some of the biggest players in the marketplace. I mean, what gets more exciting than being part of that? I mean, a real part of that whole process. It's like, it's like being invited to the Super Bowl and sitting in the front seat. It was just an amazing experience. And I also have this definition of success that has evolved over time. My definition of success is, and I'm talking about financial success, not personal success, is um, losing $1 million and then making it back again. It's it's just that simple, and and I'm not sure there's not a lot of people who have experienced that.
If I lost $1 million, I would not live long enough to make it back again. You would see me with 2 razor blades in the bottom of the Hudson River. And just 990,000. Okay, I can kind of
Right. But
hitting that 1 million mark. I'm like, no. Do you think you would invest? Last question for Al Parinello, because we're coming up on a full hour here. It's been absolutely delightful. But would you invest in theater again? Would you do it like my show? Would you invest in theater again, like my show?
I didn't hear that last part, but yeah, I would invest because you were screaming. I don't know what you said, but oh yeah,
like hold on.
Like my show!
I think I got it. So let's get this straightened out. I'm not any longer in need of losing $1 million. I've been that
I
road.
could do that for you. I could lose $500,000 in very quickly for you.
I'm an investor. I like to take a look at a lot of things. I do look at a lot of things, and I pass on most of them. You got to have a heart, and something's got to generate some excitement, and that's how that's how I take on projects. But if anybody out there has a project that seems to be interesting, you have a neck injury there.
Yeah, yes, and
You need and you know what we didn't talk about? It's a shame. We didn't talk about
what the hell is that? Oh my God, we didn't get to Andy Kaufman.
what's the matter with you? What's wrong with
everything. Holy crap!
Yeah.
How did we not get to?
That's me on the camera, by the way.
Your father brought you into the studio, but is that Kaufman behind the door?
Yeah, that's Kaufman's head right there. Yeah, that was I produced his show at college. So that's at Graham Junior College, the broadcasting college.
So that's not dyslexic. It wasn't WCBS. That's actually WCSB.
Cambridge School Broadcasting.
What did he do in that first when you produced him did he do just stand up? Did he do weird stand up? Was it?
No, he didn't do any stand-up. He did a show from the TV studios there called Uncle Andy's Funhouse. And
I
Uncle
remember
Andy's
that though, but did that get viral or did he do it in a different way, larger as he got well known?
he there was a TV special that ABC television did called Andy Kaufman's Funhouse.
Later,
That's
once he
where it
was.
came from.
Yeah.
But I was his producer, his writer, and his cameraman, and everything else. And we became really good buddies. And yeah. And you should have me back, and we'll do a half an hour on Andy Kaufman. I
Well,
got
let's do 5 minutes on Andy Kaufman now, because I promised this and I talked about this before.
yeah, no. If you have the 5 minutes,
So
sure.
tell us an Andy Kaufman anecdote story that wasn't in the Milos Forman movie, like
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, there is a new documentary coming out about Andy, and I told this. I don't know if they're going to use it, but I sat in the studio for half a day and told them a lot of stories about Andy. But this is a unique story. So we're standing outside the dormitory up in Boston, one of the major dormitories. This was a very wealthy school, had big giant buildings that were hotels that were acquired by the school. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm there with two friends, and we're just talking. Andy, I was 22 years old, I guess, something like that. Maybe not even that old. I don't know, around there. And it was 1971. So we're staying there talking, and Andy comes by and he goes, "Hey guys, I found out how to pick up chicks. It is so simple. Do you guys want to learn?" And
Hold on. Did you just say say
Yes.
that's how it sounded. So we are three naive guys, and Andy says, "You're not going to believe this. You are not going to believe this. This works so effectively. You want to do it?" I said, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." Now in Kenmore Square, where the big Citgo sign is up there, there was this bus terminal right there. It's not there any longer, but there was this bus terminal. That was like this big wide street, and big buses would come in, pick up people, and take them all over the place. So he said, I discovered this, and it works like a gem. It's unbelievable." I said, "Okay, let's do it. Let's go." So we walked down to the bus terminal, and Andy says, you just watch what I do. Stand back a little bit so that people don't know we're together. Just watch this. When the bus comes in, I'm going to pick out a girl as she walks off. I have no idea who's on these buses. This is not a setup. So I'm just watch what I do. It's amazing. Now it was like raining out a little bit, a little damp, right? So it was overcast, and rain was on and off. So a bus pulls in. So he's like, watch. And he goes over to the door of the bus. And as people start coming off, he waits for a young, attractive, tall girl. Girls had to be tall. I don't know if that's one thing about Andy that you just needed to know. So anyway, it's finally a tall, beautiful girl gets off the bus. Andy goes up to her and he goes, hey, chick, you like what you see?" And the girl's like, "Get away from me." And Andy's like, and he turns around, he goes, here it comes. And he goes, and the girl's like, "What?" He goes, he turns around, "That's the trick. And the girls are like, "Get away from me," and hitting him with the umbrella and pushing him away. And he's like, no, it's not working yet. Hold it. And he's doing the click sound. And these girls are just humiliating him. Tell him, "Get away from me, you creep. Get away from me." And he's like, "Wait a minute, look." He wouldn't stop doing it. He just would not stop doing it. And he's like, all right, hold, somebody else. It was just like 40 people on the bus. Another beautiful, tall chick comes out. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And he's like, "Hi." And he's like, hey. He starts the whole thing over again. And it's like, get away from me. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. Go, leave. And he turns around. He's assuring us, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. He said, did you see that? Did you see what I did? Now that is hysterical. And we were like, the three of us were like bent over laughing on the ground. People had no idea. And he kept it up for like 20 minutes. Another bus goes to another bus. Same thing, same routine. And to him, this was just going to work. But he knew full well that he was just being, boring. He just knew that he was being so stupid, but he loved it. He loved the rejection. And then he came over to us when there were no buses and he said, it always worked before. That's it. And nobody knows that story. They'll see it in the documentary.
Oh, I hope they put that in the doc, because that is a fantastic, and just the sheer, and you know that Gilbert Gottfried learned something from him about repetition, about, it stops being funny, it starts being annoying, boring, and then suddenly it's hysterical again. It's kind of like the sheer bravery and brazeness of it.
I know.
That is great. That's what, wow.
Yeah. Hey, this has been a gas. I mean, you're a very cool guy. I should probably leave you with
a lot of money to produce my show. Yes. Oh no, yes.
Beethoven. What do you got? Who do you got there? Oh, Mr. Oh, I'll trade.
Listen.
Another way is letting people take good care of you when you need it.
Too low. Can't hear it.
All right, hold it.
Oh, there you go.
We have an option here. Here we go. Wait a minute. This'll work. This is gonna work because it always works. Here we go.
I like to think of all kinds of helpers in our world.
I love it.
The whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are.
We like Al Parinello just the way he is, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an absolute gas and a delight to have him in the. Oh, here we go. Play us out. Wait, hold it, it's not.
No, you're not getting it?
I have the thing set on Zoom so that music.
All right.
It's not allowing any music to come through. God damn it! Damn it. See, this is what it means to be Jewish, where everything goes great and then one thing goes wrong and it ruins everything. But it looked good to see you blowing into the thing. What is it? Why do you have that? What is that?
Do you remember I told you I collect terrible things and give them to people?
Yes.
This is one of them. I got it for you. This is napkins in the form of her dress that you put it on the table so people can withdraw their own napkin, and it's useless. And somebody thought this was a product that would sell. And I buy these things, these stupidest things I can find, and give them away as Christmas gifts. And this is one of them. And it's one of my favorites.
It's a useful item. It's just stupid, but it is useful. It is practical. It is.
But isn't that
for someone with toilet paper?
But look at that! Look at that beautiful face.
All right,
look at that.
I could pick her up at a bus stop. Yeah.
Look at those gloves. Yeah. Look at those napkins.
At least they got used. That's all I can.
There you go. There you go. So listen, this has been a pleasure. I love talking with you. I hope we can do it again.
Yes, please come back
and I
to
thank you for having me on.
Everybody, please also go to surflight.org to find out the season that's going to be coming up for Surflight Theater out in New Jersey. And everybody, please give a very warm thank you to our brand new friend of the neighborhood, Al Parinellowitz. What a delight, what a joy. Health to you, much more success. And of course, we will be talking about your producing Shalom Dammit, An Evening with Me at Surflight Theater, and then eventually at the O2 in Wembley Stadium. Just say, think small, take the risk. Shalom to you. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you. Be well. Bye.
Al Parinello, my friends. Oh, what a delight. What a joy. So much fun. Oh, I know I should have asked more Andy Kaufman questions. Next time. There'll be a next time. We got to have him back. And we have to have you back every week here on Dave's Gone By, where my good friend Dave, the producer and host, does the rest of this crazy program. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is from me. I hope you had a wonderful Chanukah. I hope you have a fine New Year, coming out the Jewish New Year, but the regular, the Goyish one. Hope that goes well for you. Happy Passover far in advance, but you never know. It is great to see you. It is great to be here. And blessings to you, to every one of you, from every one of me. Will you play it? Thank you. Damn it! The one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi, Saul Solomon. You're going to want to find out more about him by going to his website, shalomdammit.com. Shalom, D-A-M-M-I-T, shalomdammit.com. It's got links to many of the interviews that he's done on this program. Also, more importantly, because all of those are also on davesgoneby.com. But if you want to find out more about that show, he was relentlessly hawking Al Parinello about Shalom Dammit, An Evening with Rabbi Saul Solomon, which was performed a decade ago off Broadway. Go to shalomdammit.com if you want to read and hear his rabbinical reflections, his thoughts on the world, his mini sermons that he was doing many weeks here on the show, and that he sometimes comes back and does. Just go to shalomdammit.com. And if you want to see his hilarious TV program that he did also a decade or so ago on Long Island cable television, Shalom Dammit, Rabbi Saul Solomon's Peace, Love, and Acid Reflux Hour, you're going to want to go to shalomdammit.com. All the links are there. They're mostly YouTube links, but you can get the links to those things at his place on the interwebs, shalomdammit.com. Well, it is about, not quite, but about 11:15 Eastern Time here in the Daverhood with yours truly, Dave Lefkowitz, doing the 922nd episode of the show. We're calling it Thrust and Parry for our new friend, Al Parinello. And we have so much more still to do on the show because, hey, we've got Greeley Times telling you what's been going on in Greeley, Colorado, what calls have been coming into the police department there. We got some new ones because it's in the pages of the Greeley Tribune every week. Plus, what else do we have? We have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we're going to Laporte, Colorado. And what else do we? And Bunion Watch. Let's do Bunion Watch. Let's get that done, because every week here, for the past 4 months now, we've been reporting on the state, rather, thank goodness, dormant state of my bunions on my feet. So what happened, and I tell this story every week, is that I was teaching. I started the semester many weeks ago and had, let's get it all the way down, and had classes on my first day in relatively new sneakers I thought I had broken in, but on one of my feet, it just rubbed and it was terrible and it gave me agony. And one of the reasons is that on my left foot, I have a small but obviously noticeable bunion. So you can see it there, you can see the curvature, the beautiful sexy roundness of my left foot bunion. Well, anyway, it was not pleasant. I wore a moleskin thing. So I thought, why not give you, the viewer, you know so much else about me, about my life. Many of you have been keeping an eye on the show for the 21 plus years we've been on the air. Why not share my bunion? So here's the bunion on the foot that was rubbed raw on that first day of school. As I've told you, this is not my bad bunion. That's on my right foot. That's much, much bigger. Although, thank goodness, neither of them is painful. Neither of them is in any way on the pain scale. Let's see if my bunion has anything to say. Hold up a thing here if I can do this. Nope. The bunion is noise-free. There's no sound coming out of it. So he's a nice, gentle, quiet bunion this week. I can turn it this way, if you can see. I wish this desk actually went a bit even lower so I could really lay it down for you. But there you go. There's the bunion on my left foot in perfectly fine, normal condition. I'm not going to measure it today, but I'm going to eyeball it and figure that it has not grown even by a millimeter. It's the same bunion as it was last week when I shared it with you. Now here's the monster bunion. Here's the big one. Look at that puppy. Oh baby, look at that right foot bunion. Now that's isn't that cool? Isn't that great? That's my right foot bunion. The one that was not bothered by the sneaker for whatever reason. Let's take a look. A pretty bunion is like a melody. And yes, it does give me a little bit of a hammer toe, as you can see, but I'm actually pulling my big toe there so I can really highlight the beauty of this bunion. Foot. This is the foot fetish moment for Dave's Gone By viewers who have that pervy curiosity. What if I just did this for the next hour? It actually feels rather nice, but the weird part is it feels nice on this foot more than the bunion. Bunion doesn't really feel much of anything, but this is very, this is rather not sexually arousing, but rather gently like, stimulating. Everybody try this at home. Remember, I teach college kids. You know, one of the wonderful things that Al Parinello told me when we talked earlier in the weekend and we're setting up for the conversation he had with Rabbi Sal is I watched some of your show and it's stupid, but it's stupid in a good way. And can there be anything more stupid in a good way than Bunion Watch? Ladies and gentlemen, for this Saturday, December 16th, 2023, that was indeed Bunion Watch. It always brings me to the wrong. Here it is.
She's Bunion, she really is a good one, she's Bunion. Listen, doctor, to my plea, it's time for bunionectomy. Bunions, they're a pain in the feet. Feet of mine have got to go, please get these bunions off my toes. My elbow boy, foot rule always had my elbow boy. Bunions, painful, bunions, painful, bunions, painful, bunions.
Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, I think we get the idea there. Bunions. Painful, except thank goodness mine are not. Here on Dave's Gone By. Remember, if you want to contact me, all you got to do is email davesgoneby@aol.com. Dave, like my name. davesgoneby@aol.com. You can also post messages under this Facebook page or direct message me if you're a friend or perhaps even if you're not. Just lots of ways to get in touch. I don't necessarily have time to even thumbs up or say hi to everybody, but I try and read everything, and it is of great solace, might be the word, or great pride to me when I get new viewers, when I get new people into the Daverhood, when you guys say to people, hey, there's this unbelievably stupid program on the interwebs every Saturday morning. It's hosted by this guy. I can't even describe, just watch it. You'll hate it at first, and then you'll be like, there's something compellingly idiotic about all of this. Give it a look. And that's how we get new people in the Daverhood. Speaking of people in the Daverhood, let's talk about our friends. See, Al Parinello is now a friend, an official friend of the Daverhood. He has been on this program. Now, we've had, over the course of 21 years, lots and lots of people on this program. Some of them famous, many of them not, but all of them are like friends and like family. And we like to let you know, hey, we've told you about these people. You've met these people. They're in the bosom, if you will, of our Daveness. What are they up to? And that is why every week we talk about the friends of the Daverhood. That didn't play. Play this one. Whoa. Yikes. Gee up now. Yeah, let's have a little bit of music. Take the volume down a little bit. That's better. Anyway, friends of the Daverhood for this week. Well, first, we have to do a sad one. We want to send out condolences to our director, producer friend Lee Wachner out in California. He was on the show just a few months ago. His mom passed away last week in her sleep, 98 years old. So on a certain level, it's like condolences and also congratulations. But I'm sure there was a sad. It's been a sad time for him. So our condolences go out to Lee Wachner. At the same time, we send congratulations out to our friend of the Daverhood, Jessica Schur. The short film that she was in, Wicked Image, won Baltimore's Next Image Award. So yeah, I mean, she usually is pushing this Betty Davis stage show that she does. Betty Davis is Not for Sissies, but she was also in this movie, and this movie just picked up an award locally right here in Baltimore. I wish I'd known. Anyway, congratulations to her on that. I want to let you know that tonight, Saturday, December 16th, at 7:30 p.m., if you're in New Jersey, right? Surflight isn't doing anything at the moment, but you can go to the Wonder Bar in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and see Gary U.S. Bonds live in person, still performing. Isn't that amazing? That is tonight at 7:30 at the Wonder Bar. Now, if you're in Manhattan, tomorrow you might want to go see David Cale telling stories and singing songs, and he's doing that at the club Pangea. I believe that is downtown. On Monday evening, Karen Mason is doing Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. And Rabbi Sal is not going to that, but she is going to be at Birdland Monday night, this Monday night, Karen Mason. And then starting on, let's see, 1920, on Thursday, and then running through the weekend, Clea Blackhurst, our great friend, and Jim Caruso too. They are doing a swinging Birdland Christmas at Birdland also. So go see them. On the 22nd, I guess, is Friday. Tammy Faye Starlight is playing Marianne Faithful in the show she's been doing for a while, and that is at Pangea. Definitely go see her. She's a really, really talented and kind of funny satirist, parodist, not to mention she can sing and do Marianne Faithful. This is Tammy Faye Starlight at Pangea on Friday night. Playing now through December 23rd, Daniel, if you're already sick of all the Christmas stuff going on, why not see Daniel Kaner bringing Jewish Chronicles back to the Soho Playhouse downtown on Van Dam Street. That is playing now through December 23rd. Now through the 24th, Hershey Felder is in Monsieur Chopin. That is at 59 East 59th Street. So yeah, he's playing the music of and also giving the biography of Chopin. So you're going to want to see Hershey Felder do that. He's an accomplished pianist as well as performer. J.O. Sanders is on Broadway in the hit comedy, Pearly Victorious, over at the Music Box Theater. That is playing through early February. I think it was extended recently to early February. We have an Austin Pendleton alert. All right, hold your ears. Austin Pendleton. The ubiquitous actor and director, Austin Pendleton, and cabaret person too. He's always doing something, and right now he has directed a revival of Tennessee Williams' play Night of the Iguana, featuring our friend Daphne Rubin Vega. Of course, you know her from Rent. But yeah, she is appearing in Night of the Iguana. This is happening at the Signature Theater over on 480 West 42nd Street, all the way down, where Theater Row was and still is. Lilius White is on Broadway in Hadestown at the Walter Kerr. Stuart Zagnet is in Harmony at the Ethel Barrymore Theater. And let's see, of course, Alan Menken's music can be heard in both Aladdin on Broadway and Little Shop of Horrors off. Seth Beeson-Hirsch does Seth's Talent Showcase every Tuesday night at Don't Tell Mama. Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano, they hold court at Birdland on Saturday evenings, birdlandjazz.com for tickets, and Vince Giordano and the Nighthawks play Birdland for 2 shows on every Monday evening. Again, tickets at birdlandjazz.com, particularly as well for the long-running show Jim Caruso's Cast Party every Monday night at Birdland. Want to remind you that Evan Seplow is the editor and founder of StageBuddy.com, a website all about New York theater and nightlife and restaurants and things, StageBuddy.com. Reminding you that David Sheward is the one of the lead critics for TheaterLife.com, CulturalDaily.com, and for TotalTheater.com. So check them all out and read his work. Vicky Quaddy, she is out there in Chicago doing late night catechism as well as Christmas bingo. That is at the Greenhouse Theater in Chicago, and she also travels to other places to do those shows. And Charlie Gross and Leslie Hoban Blake, they co-host Two on the Aisle, where you can see clips and entire episodes on YouTube. They review Broadway and off-Broadway theater together, Charlie Gross and Leslie Hoban Blake. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. Diddly 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 do. Oh, diddly 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 do. All right, diddly diddly do. Thank you, Neville Mariner. Ladies and gentlemen, it is almost 11:30 in the Daverhood Eastern Time. We're doing our 922nd episode of the program that we've been calling Thrust and Parry. And we have we're going to tarry just a little longer to do a little bit more show for ya. What do I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about, had a really good, don't know why I'm bothering it, really good tomato sauce earlier in the week. My wife Joyce was in the mood for pasta. We said, let's make some pasta. I always love pasta. So, I make a pretty decent sauce. I'm not like the old Italian woman standing at the giant iron pot, over stewing tomatoes from 9 o'clock in the morning until it's time for the mafiosi to eat. No. But I will mix a bunch of things together, and it comes out pretty well for instant sauce that is still using other pre-made ingredients. And I gotta say, I got a jar of tomato sauce remaindered, and I don't remember if it was either Kohl's or Marshall's or Home Goods, in those places where my favorite place to look is where everything's marked down, in the clearance section. So I go there and I'm looking, and usually, unfortunately, it's just a little more than I want to pay even for clearance items. Because they'll have something that was like $6 and they'll mark it down to $4.50, and I'm like, maybe not. But every once in a while, I'll take a shot. I'll be like, okay, let me try this. So they had a jar of tomato sauce that was marked down to $3, and I'm thinking, that's okay. I will try a jar of tomato sauce. Usually, I'll look for Bertolli's, and you can get those even cheaper. But that looks like a nice little jar. And open it, it was really good. And it's called Monte Popillo, like Popillo Mountain or Potillo Mountain, whatever it is. And was not expecting it to be that. I knew it would be better than like your basic store-bought ragu derivative, because you can see from the ingredients that it was pretty good stuff. But I was like, ooh, sometimes it does make a difference to use a higher quality sauce. So to the point where I'm like, I may purchase this again. But the problem was, and this is what happens when you go to remainder sections of these places, it's like it's not something they ordinarily carry. They brought it in once. They couldn't move all of it, and so now they're discounting it. They're remaindering it. So you get one, and you know you can't just go back there and go, oh, I'm going to get 2 more jars. Next time I make pasta sauce, I'm using Montepilio, which saddens me. So the first thing, of course, that you do in this day and age is you go on the interwebs and you look for Google or Bing, and you say, hey, where can I buy and order Montepilio? And it's not really that available, which is a strange thing. It's not as if, oh, Whole Foods, sure, is a higher level thing, so you may not find it in the 7-Eleven, but Mom's grocer should have it, Whole Foods should have it, other places like that. But no, it's like one place I think called Pinocchio's. So I don't know if they're lying about what they have or not. And this bottle is normally like $7 a jar, which is a lot. At that point, it gets into Chef Rao's territory. I've always wanted to try Chef Rao's pasta sauces, but I always see them on the shelves, and rich or not, I'm thinking, okay, I can buy the Paul Newman stuff. I can buy this. I can buy Bertolli's. I can buy a perfectly nice sauce with where glucose and water isn't the first ingredient for $3, for $2 or $3. Why am I going to pay $7? Because you use up like half a jar making one thing of pasta. Why would I pay $7, $8, $10 for Chef Rao's whatever the hell it is? So I don't, and I won't. But if I want to try something new, and hey, this is pretty good, I'll buy this again. I'm not going to suddenly order. There's one, I swear to God, if you go on Amazon and you look for this Montepilio sauce, they have 6 jars for $73, shipping included. But I'm like, I couldn't do the math, but it's like $12, $13 for a bottle of tomato sauce. I'm like, no. Even the other places were only charging $7, but I think there was shipping or something. I'm like, no. Where's that? Because I would, having paid $3 for the discounted version, I would be like, you know what? For special occasion, I'll open this up for $5. I'll buy this pasta sauce for a $5 jar. I will do that. It's kind of like what I do for my morning coffee. I've found out that, at least for the time being, my favorite overall morning coffee is the Lavazza Red. So I get the Lavazza Red K-Cups, and rather than paying 30 or 35 cents for discounted other brands that are perfectly good, I'll buy a couple of boxes of a Lavazza and pay 50 or 60 cents per K-Cup. I'm not going to pay $1 per K-Cup. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get that Kahlua, Mount Hawaiian brand, where it's like, yeah, it's $1 a cup of coffee, I don't even want to pay $4 a cup of coffee in Starbucks. When are you going to charge me $1 for a cup of coffee at home? No. But 50 instead of 30 cents, which is a big jump, I'll do it. Because I like a nice cup. The Lavazza green is good too, but the Lavazza red, that sort of does it. That starts my day. Fine, I'll do it. I would do that with this Montepilio sauce if it were reasonable and available. So I call out to the people of Montepilio who have a website. And they have a thing of like, put in your zip code and see where you can, it gives nothing. Where can I actually buy it near me? But of course, if you want to get old Dave a holiday present and you want to ship it to me, I'll tell you how. But that's the annoying and frustrating thing. It's like, oh, I was able to try this. Now I'm hooked. I want to try this sauce again. And it's like, let's not make it readily available. Let's wait on that. Oh, I think my wife is home. I do believe Joyce is back home from getting her massage. So I purposely held Greeley times until she returned back to the homestead. But anyway, so I will recommend the sauce if you can afford it. Al Parinello could buy a vat of it. He could buy the company and then release the sauce and make it more easily distributed and more widely distributed so old Dave can have better pasta going forward in the future. And remember, the secret of a better pasta sauce, add honey. Try it. Honey and hot sauce. Good. So, Joyce is walking back into the room. Hello.
Hey, honey.
Oh, you're smiling, you're beaming, you're glowing. How you doing?
Good. I had a little vertigo from it, but she fixed it. Yeah.
How did she fix your vertigo?
We just went slow, and my neck is all a little bit. I gotta sit. I gotta just sit properly.
All
You
right.
look so nice in that shirt.
Isn't that yeah?
It looks like Hawaiian holiday.
Festive and Jersey Shore-ish and yeah.
Not Jersey Shore. I think
Oh.
you look more fancy.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, like Jersey, the idea of water and beach
You
and
look more Hawaiian.
okay, yeah. Well, this is like a Hawaiian-y shirt. So good. So you got a massage. You don't have to say where or something. It was worth it. It felt great. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she
I'd
did. Yeah.
like to make tea. How was your day?
Oh, so we had a wonderful conversation with Al
Wow,
Parinello
yeah.
in the Daverhood. It was
What
fabulous.
did you learn?
Oh, so much. Oh, he talked about everything from owning a radio station to owning the Surflight Theater in New Jersey to his friendship with that. I wish we had more time to talk about his friendship with Andy Kaufman, but he told him wonderful. Oh, everybody, if you missed the conversation, once this is posted on davesgoneby.com or archive.org, or if you just want the audio, castbox.fm, check it out. It's Al Parinello and Rabbi Saul Solomon. It was fabulous.
Oh, great.
And then, yeah, we've just been having fun on the air, which is what we do every Saturday from 9 until noon or thereabouts. So, yay.
I like that.
Since you're here, let's do some Greeley Times, just a couple, and then I'll do our Colorado Limerick. You missed Bunion Watch.
Oh, well, I heard it went well. I heard that there was some Bunion activity.
Yeah.
Actually, the Uber driver told me that there was a global alert for David's Bunion watch. Yeah.
Was there? Oh,
He said no pain, no swelling, good Bunion.
That fabulous Bunion. Although I discovered, and you missed this too, that if I take I can't. I'll just describe it. This is my left foot. And if I take this part of my left toe and I do it over my bunion of the right toe, it feels rather sexually arousing on the side of my left toe.
Honey.
I wouldn't say sexually. It was a pleasant stimulus.
Oh, good.
It was kind of like ooh. This might very well be an erogenous zone on your toe.
On your foot?
Yeah, because it is kind of. Do this to your thumb. This is kind of hot. Try it.
It's just sensitive skin.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What do you think an erogenous zone is? Like, ooh.
I thought it was like a roundabout.
Anyway.
We're going to do Greeley Crimes at all times, you said, right?
Yes, right now. Right? Yeah, we're going to do Greeley Times. So this is
It's
based.
nice out too, David. I
Oh,
was
is it beautiful?
overdressed.
Oh, good.
Yeah, my sandals. You don't wear sandals, but you know.
So in the pages of the Greeley Tribune every week is a column called Cop Log that is based on real actual phone calls that come into the Greeley and Northern Colorado Police Department from people who see weird things happening in their neighborhoods. Well, here in the Daverhood, we take the funniest ones and share them with you every week in a segment that we like to call Greeley Times. Greeley Times it is. So here's some of the stuff that has been happening over the last couple of weeks in northern Colorado. And a lot of these come in by phone call, of course. So there's our first call now.
Wow.
A caller on 86th Avenue said that his garage door had been repeatedly opening and closing for the last 15 minutes. He wasn't sure if someone was trying to get in. So, of course, he calls the cops, yeah.
Well, maybe it's just he's sitting on the...
He's sitting on the transponder, or could have been those raccoons. Remember we had, when we were living in Colorado, they were family raccoons.
I bet you they've been smart enough to use the remote control now, I bet that.
That's it, they were taught. The fox, who is very foxy, teaches the raccoons to open the garage door.
It could be.
Yeah.
Or it could be that someone in his family just is playing tricks on him, which I think is probably more the case.
Oh, or it could be malfunction of the...
Or he's probably sitting on it, like something's pressing on it. He's,
That could be. It could be his prostate.
I hope not.
I hope not too, actually.
That would be bad.
Oh my God, we have another phone call. Oh, wow. And this one is apparently, we have a thing here where I can look at and see where the call is coming from. It is from Doubletree Drive.
Whoa, is that like a hotel?
It must be.
Double
Yeah.
Tree Inn.
Yeah. That makes sense. It would be the drive where they built the
Yeah.
Doubletree. They reported someone pounded on her door and left a figurine on her front porch.
That's nice.
I guess.
That's probably the Elon lady.
You think?
I think it's probably maybe, well, if we go later to the shopping center, they have carolers. Maybe it's just, maybe it's Secret Santa.
Oh, so it leaves by leaving a
Yeah.
little doll, unless it's a voodoo doll. Unless it's like,
I'd take it.
yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Me too.
Yeah.
No, oh, man, we're just overloaded. There's another phone call.
Oh, geez, what's
Yeah.
that?
Okay, let me check where this one's coming from. Checking on my phone. It's coming from 13th Street.
Oh,
Go
again,
figure, yeah.
always 13th Street. What?
Woman called the police department,
Yeah.
telling them
Yeah.
this is real, by the way. We're not making these are actual calls logged into the
I
police
just
department.
have to look up the name of a thing we have to get at Wegmans. But
Oh, all right, fine.
I'm listening.
A caller on 13th Street said she had a cold and she wanted an officer to bring her cough syrup. Wouldn't that be great if the police really were that? If they really were out there to protect and serve and actually help, not just catch criminals, not just shoot unarmed black people, but to kind of like really, because I use them for directions before GPS and everything. You would stop a cop if you saw one. I was like, what street do I? And they would almost always be really, really helpful and be really, really cool. Wouldn't it be great if, like, I was gonna fix a pasta dinner and I realized I'm out of garlic. Could a police officer just go to the local Safeway and bring back? No, not a clove. You know what? Yes, get a clove and get the minced garlic. And of course, I'll pay him money. That would be great if police functioned like that. But anyway, you know why it does make sense to send a police officer to bring over cough syrup?
Why?
Well, police very often deal with Vicks. What? Oh, you're falling down on the job here. Wow, this thing's dead. Oh, so sad. Anyway, a caller in Greeley said that his wife hit him, but he later called back and said that, quote, he had taken too many of his pain meds along with the THC gummy,
Oh no.
and he had only dreamt that his wife hit him.
What?
Yeah. Lots for the cops to unravel there. Like, is he telling the truth now? Is he telling the truth beforehand? And I assume THC gummies are now legal? Because that's a stuff in pot, right? THC is,
Yeah.
So, would you eat a THC gummy worm?
No.
You sure? What about a Haribo sugar-free THC gummy?
I need
Well, you get diarrhea, but I just don't care.
I don't want any of that.
Oh, we haven't shown chicken today. Here's chicken. I've lost the ability to do this properly. I don't know why. Thumb on under the head.
And then.
Okay. Watch your eyes. Okay, get his thumb there. Okay, and then put the finger here. Okay, here comes chicken. You can start to see his little head. Here he goes.
Whoa, good. Good job, honey.
Oh, I used to be able to hit the wall.
Yeah. Those days are gone.
That's an in-joke between the two of us. Okay. A caller on 9th Street. Yeah, it's 9th Street. I guessed that one. Without even looking, I knew it was 9th Street.
You can tell by the ring, huh?
They reported a couple of people, quote, being weird, back by the dumpsters.
Oh, honey.
That's a good place to be
I
weird.
think those are called raccoons.
Now, here's the deal. The caller would not elaborate. He just wanted an officer to come out. What?
You can't just say people are acting weird. Go see it.
Could you define? Does weird involve like machetes and firearms, or
maybe they're just dumpster diving? Those are big differences. You have to I think you have to quantify, or not quantify, but explain more what being weird is.
If I've always wanted to do that. I always wanted to put on gloves, safe gloves, and maybe good rubber shoes or something. I would love to dumpster dive. I would love to go into it, see stuff that people throw out, because it's not going to be just garbage. It's going to be old TVs and things and
Look at me.
typewriters? No?
No.
I think it'd be kind of cool.
No.
All right. Okay. Yes, there's a call coming in from Fifth Avenue.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well.
Maybe not.
A caller there saw a man, quote, with his pants down, showing everything.
I like that. That's a good way to say it.
Yeah,
Showing
with
everything.
Yeah.
Well, maybe front, back, middle. He had, full on.
Although if he had shoes on, he was not showing everything.
He was showing everything. Everything that's meaningful. Everything you don't want to see in public.
Everything is beautiful under my pants. Do. All right, one more. We don't even have an elsewhere today. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. So here's one more Greeley criminality crime time. And this is I don't know if this is coming in by, hold it. No, this one's coming in by Morse code. I don't know why. Wait, let me get the Morse one first. They hung up. All right, let me get this one. Where's it? Oh, a caller on 14th Street reported someone knocking on the door and asking to sleep there.
Aww. Won't you be my neighbor?
And she thought, I asked my husband to deal with it, but he went to take the trash out. And
What kind of husband is that?
I haven't seen him for an hour, even though his house keys are right here on the table.
Oh, God.
And meanwhile, this person keeps asking me to come in and sleep. I don't get it. But anywho, ladies and gentlemen, that is Greeley Times for this Saturday, December 16th, 2023.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool.
No, he was not.
I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi, 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 yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, little bit of Greeley Times there. So it's almost about 10 to noon. We've actually done almost a 3-hour show here.
How'd you
today.
do it? Well, they had a good interview.
Great
said,
interview,
that
great,
was-
yeah.
Did you show the toilet ad?
No, we're saving that. That'll
next
be
time.
like a
Okay,
story
okay,
time.
okay.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But you were out for about an hour and a half or so.
Yeah.
Somehow you got back in time
Yeah.
for because you missed Bunion Watch and you
Yeah.
missed the interview and missed some of the stuff I was talking
I'm
about.
so hungry, honey. I need food.
All right, well,
I'm gonna
okay. Oh, you want to get before we go? I mean, we'll have something before we go.
I'll just take a scoop of peanut butter.
Yeah, do that, yeah. But or
Aren't
did you
are
deliberately mention that so that you wouldn't have to listen to our limerick?
No, my stomach is like. Are you hungry?
A little bit, but I can wait.
Okay.
You know what I'm having for lunch. You know what I'm having for lunch, ladies
What's
and gentlemen.
that, honey? You should. Why don't you ask them to sponsor you? Just
Oh.
tag them.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Anyway, we're talking, of course, about Mission. I haven't even mentioned them this week. Mission Barbecue, not sponsored, not anything. Just saying their Black Plate special is prime rib. Enough said. Okay, so, but I am gonna. Will it make you lose your appetite if I do the Colorado Limerick of the damned?
At this point, probably not.
Probably not. So this week we go to Laporte, Colorado. I'm amazed I never got to that one because it's such a
It's
rhymable.
hell, yeah.
Yeah, Laporte, Colorado. Which, well, I'll give you some information about Laporte, and then of course I'm going to read a disgusting, horrible,
It says the
evil
city
poem.
in Texas.
Well, then, yeah, there's probably Laportes all over the place because it's Laportable. That's a little bit of comedy
That
right
says
there.
it's a good place to live,
Oh, well, it would be.
and the public schools are above average.
Well, that's rare in Colorado, quite honestly. Can say how few taxes fund, how little taxes fund schools there. Well, hold any thoughts about Laporte while I play the theme music.
Oh, it's made by fur trappers.
You're the poetry man. A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 would end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick. Rocky Mountain, Colorado, Colorado.
Yeah. Hang on. So we're going to give that information right now, as a matter of fact, about... Whoa, stop
It
this.
says fur trappers.
Yeah,
It said it
it was
was
strictly from commercial. Yeah.
It says, with American Indian wives, French Canadian fur trappers with native wives settled it.
Yeah, Navajo. There
Yeah.
was Navajo people. They settled it way back, like the 1820s. So it's pretty early Colorado because it's far, far north in Larimer County. It's part of actually the Fort Collins area. And yes, they did actually spell it properly back in the day with a capital P, like
Yeah, what happened?
Laporte. They met in Colorado. They mess with pronunciations. They mess with the spellings of things. It probably should have been Laporte. Well, it's Laporte. And they named it, as you said, French for the word door. In the 1860s, famous frontiersman Kit Carson set up camp along the Cache-la-Poudre River, because the whole thing goes along that river.
Yeah.
And according to Wikipedia, by the 1860s, 70s, there was a booming town. It had 4 saloons, a brewery, a butcher shop, 2 blacksmiths, a general store, and a hotel. It was essentially the biggest town north of Denver that you could find in that
town,
area. Yeah. Now, currently, it's not tiny. You got about 2,500 people living there. Plus, it's known for camping, open spaces, fishing, hiking. Basically, quote every single city in Colorado. It says fishing, hiking, open spaces, camping, and all these things. So Laporte, Colorado, this beautiful place, which I am, of course, going to disfigure with a limerick with a short 5-line poem, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned for Laporte, Colorado. Ahem. It's awfully fun to cavort with Laura, a whore from Laporte. But when you awaken, you'll be shocked and shaken from counting each genital wart. No, yes, no. She always, Joyce just threw the bell across the room. She always gives me a look after I do a Colorado Limerick of the Damned. It's like, Dave, I love you, and you do a lot of things well.
Yet
Yeah.
another town we will never be invited to. Yes.
Yeah, basically, we'll never get the key to Laporte, even to their Laportisans. We'll never be admitted into Laporte, Colorado. But if you have your complaints and issues with me or the show or my poetry, please email davesgoneby@aol.com. davesgoneby@aol.com. Plus, you can message me right here on this Facebook page. So just pop your message underneath or instant message me if you can. And remember that we also have our Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2. It's Radio Dave and the number 2. And we have an Instagram page, which is my name, David.Lefkowitz. And we're not on TikTok. I guess I should be. I don't have the time to deal.
You could, honey.
Not on Periscope. Are there any others now? I'm not on WhatsApp and Snapchat
I don't know, honey.
and Hoogly Doo and any of these other places. Yeah, is there a Hoogly Doo?
No.
If not, Al Parinello will start it and buy it. So, anywho, we are coming up on the end of the program. So we want to thank one more time Al Parinello for being our guest in the Daverhood. Remember that you go to surflighttheater.org. If you're on the East Coast and looking for something fun to do, particularly over the summer holidays or even for the Christmas show that they're going to be doing, A Christmas Story, surflight.org. And to find out more about this cool theater and this very, very cool dude. Go to shalomdammit.com for more about Rabbi Saul Solomon. Shalom, D-A-M-M-I-T, shalomdammit.com. And for more about me, don't forget that I have my own website of my written work, davelefkowitz.org. So that's different from davesgoneby.com, which has the archives of the show. davelefkowitz.org has my written archives, my theater reviews, my interviews with celebrities, my song lyrics, my plays. If you're interested in any of that, and particularly interested in producing any of my plays, oh, Al, this is for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Just go. You can read them. davelefkowitz.org. Well, my love, I think we've come to.
I have to just remind my students their final
Oh,
tonight.
yeah. So she's got to do that. I've still got some more grading to do. Oh joy, and then working on the syllabi for next semester. It never stops, and this show never stops. I hope, to be back here next Saturday morning December, I guess it would be, I don't know, 23rd.
Today is the.
16th, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23rd.
Yeah.
December 20, like holiday show.
Yeah. You're gonna have the panel back, right, for a quiz?
At some point, I don't know, next week probably everybody's going to be out of town anyway, so it'll be
Yeah.
tough to
But
do.
it's on Zoom.
Even so.
Oh, you're there with family.
You know, David goes, he sees his mom, he goes to
His mom hates
places.
the show, that's a problem.
Leslie will probably be with her family, Vicky will be on stage.
Yeah.
Soon we will have our panel back playing the Today Yesterday quiz. We will have that back. We'll have more limericks. I'm sorry for that, but we will have more limericks, more Bunions to watch, and we will have more interviews, more Greeley stuff, more story time, more fun. Here in the Daverhood, where I say, even though the holiday's over, happy Chanukah to everyone post-Chanukah, and don't miss your Daves going by and gone. Bye-bye. And thank you, Joyce, for starting the show with us and coming back and ending the show and helping us. Love you.
Thank you.
Days gone by, good night. Days gone by, good night. Days gone by, good night.
You've made this day a special day by just your being you.
Thank you, Fred.